There are indeed more and more people saying wrestling brain. Let's get into it, folks. It is pay-per-view week. We haven't had one of these in a while, Bobby. I realized as I put up the pick'em sheet on Patreon, of course, available to free patrons, patreon.com/J0SHC. Make your picks. If you go perfect, you get a free fabric sticker. You'll love that. But we haven't done one of these in a while, Bobby, pay-per-view week. I'm excited. How are you feeling?
Good. Excited for the show too. And excited to hear 10 different takes on the show.
House party style.
House party style, yeah. Can I ask you about the fabric stickers? Has anyone won a fabric sticker yet? Would this be the first time?
We have 3 winners of fabric stickers.
Nice.
One for G1 correct predictions, 2 people tied for that, and then a World's Toughest Fighter winner.
Beautiful. And I imagine Kyle Cushman's both of them, I'm guessing.
He's all 3, unfortunately. Kyle Cushman has taken every sticker hostage on the channel. Bobby, I love doing these shows, going through the card, not only because it's fun to talk to our friends from all around the channel and the world, but it's fun to get me hype for the pay-per-view. I want to be talked in the door, and I always feel like going through these things, it does that. So we're going to start off with our buddy Goo from Flashback 64. Goo, you can come on in whenever you want. Let him know. And we'll talk about the opening match, give our picks and predictions for everything. If you're here for the first time, hit the follow button. If you're here for a repeat visit, consider a subscription, playing some sound alerts. If you're a nasty casty, listen to this. God knows you do the bare minimum, so you might as well at least hit the rate and review button, but I'm going to guess you won't do that. If past is prologue to the future. There he is.
Hey, how's it
going?
My
buddy going through the N64's entire catalog, one game at a time. Goo is in the house. Goo, how are you feeling about Sunday's pay-per-view?
I'm so stoked. This is like I've been excited about plenty of AEW pay-per-views for sure, but this is the first one in a while where I'm like really amped up. I think the combination of like not having a big pay-per-view for a while, for a few months, and just like the card being so good, I'm like maximum excitement.
Sometimes I feel sort of hokey saying stuff like this because I'm sure you could catch me on mic saying this about more than one pay-per-view in the last 5 years. But I honestly feel like there's more match of the night contenders on this card than ever. And now that doesn't necessarily mean this is the best card or anything like that. That could mean there's actually not like this super top end one that's standing out. But I think there's a lot of matches on this card that stand to steal the show and sort of stands to what you're saying as well. So let's get into this match that I don't know if this is going to open, but it's first on Wikipedia, which is how I do these things. These guys have been a huge breath of fresh air to AEW for me. The Dogs, David Finlay, Gabe Kidd, and Clark Connors taking on Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, and joining the fray last night, what I thought was a pretty effective segment, Roderick Strong. Goo, where have you been on the Dogs in general on their run in AEW so far?
I've been enjoying them. Like Gabe Kidd, who's been a mainstay for like a while now, just like coming over and then now fully being on board, has been great. And then the slow, or I wouldn't say slow, but kind of like bringing in the rest of the group and kind of like trickling it out and like making this first part of the year sort of like introducing the whole group, especially as someone
slowish, I would say, drip fed.
For me, as someone who I'm somewhat familiar with these guys, but I'm not like a regular like New Japan viewer or anything. So it's been kind of cool to sort of get used to their character and their group and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think the way they've done it has been really good. It's not like the match I'm most excited about, but I'm really just intrigued to see them now as like a full unit. So I think it'll still be a really good match.
Yeah, I actually think your opinion on the Dogs is a lot more interesting than mine because I am the person who's seen sort of their from Young Lion to up till now and New Japan and leaving already in the door on them. But you representing, we're an AEW channel. MJPW does basically 10% of the viewership of AEW dudes or less. So what are some words you would use to describe the Dogs so far? Like, how are they playing to you in AEW?
I feel like they have kind of that energy that sort of the Death Riders had been given off of, like, but like a younger, like more hungry version of them, like the next generation of that. So
yeah,
I would say like, some type of like ruthless, like vibe like that.
Ruthless, chaotic, pack of wolves. I think they actually have a lot in common. with the Death Riders, and I suspect we probably will get to see that feud play out.
In AEW, they, because of Gabe's like association with the Death Riders for so long, it almost feels like not an offshoot of it, but almost like a spin-off like a spin-off sitcom of
I know what you mean.
writers in the AEW context. I know they have their whole like story in New Japan in their own sort of like world, so I don't want to take that away from them or anything.
No, but I hope it does lead to sort of this town's only big enough for the one of us kind of thing that can play upon sort of what you're talking about there. What about on the other side of the equation, Goo? When you think of Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong, sort of it's conglomeration plus Darby, loosest alliances, baby faces. But
Mhm.
I've personally felt on the show that Orange Cassidy's been pretty rejuvenated throughout this feud. I don't know if you felt the same. And what about Darby Allin and Roderick Strong? What do you think of these three together and how they're going to play here against the Diogs?
I think it makes sense, like, the conglomeration. I know there's mixed feelings about the conglomeration in this world, but I sort of like the idea of it as just like it's like a loose confederation of baby faces. So like if Darby Allin wants to be involved, it doesn't not make sense. Like, if Hologram and Tomohiro Ishii and Orange Cassidy can all be in a unit, and I think it's has a good purpose there. So them as a unit, I feel like will work pretty well.
Yeah, I actually think they're kind of like a Los Ingobernables do Japan, where it's like they represent three such different styles in one faction. Like Roderick Strong,
Hmm.
Orange Cassidy, and Darby Allin don't have a ton of overlap as wrestlers. They're all very good wrestlers, and it's maybe a certain, you wouldn't describe any of them as huge. Like you could find similarities, but in style, I think they offer something really interesting for a trio where like every tag you're getting sort of a different flavor. So where does that leave
Hmm.
you on who's winning front?
Well, I guess I thought about it and I was like, I guess it depends on where they want to go with it. But I feel like either way, I think it would make sense for the dogs to win. Whether it's like they want to, like, someone could get a pin over someone in this match, maybe it leads to like a bigger singles feud, or if this is like to set them up to be like a trio. But I don't know how much they really care about like establishing trios or tag teams out of this, but they could go that way too, especially since they're new. Like, just give them like a they could even get them that trio spelt like right away. It's not like really doesn't really matter where it goes. So
Yeah, we have a similar line of thinking here where I don't think either of us think this is the end of these guys interfacing with one another, fighting and feuding. I'm fully expecting Gabe Kidd and Darby Allin to still have like a body bag match or some sort of payoff to dragging one another behind cars and zip ups.
mhm.
And so I'm actually I want to pick it makes so much sense for the dogs to win, but yeah, I think they have to, right? Clark Connors even can't take a pin yet, can he? Not like Roderick can. My thinking is
Yeah.
this is the win for the conglomeration team. You know what I mean? And then it's all dogs in the singles, and that's the push. And these three getting the win gives it. You know what? Fuck it. I am going to go with it. I'm going to say Darby Allin, Roderick Strong, and Orange Cassidy pick up the win. I talked myself into the door, but only for a reason for them to lose in singles to each of these members going forward.
Yeah, I think either way, whoever I don't think this is one where it's like anyone, it's like they have to win or it's over for them. I think the dogs have done a good job establishing themselves, and
Yes.
they do like to do the thing where it's like, oh, let's bring in someone new, have them lose to kind of pay their dues and
Break them
then
in. Yeah.
strap the rocket to them. I feel like they have that potential.
Now, Goo, multiple mentions in the chat of what hot guys you and Bobby are. They've never seen you on camera. So not only do I agree,
Wow.
both very attractive guys, but am I wrong in saying two guys who kind of have a similar thing going on that I didn't realize? Am I? I know I'm the only one who can see them both right now, but with the
Big
microphones in
glasses, long
front,
hair.
beautiful flowing hair, the both of them. I'm thinking they're not the furthest apart guys. So
We
I
can start a
see.
faction here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a faction I joined. Two beers and Goo. Um, all right, go. I'm gonna keep you around for this here off the top. I wanted to do.
Mm.
I want to get a score. Bobby, do you have the 1 to 7 music?
We do.
Amazing. Chat, get on your feet. I want to know on a scale of 1 to 7, and I'm going to you here, Goo. With 1 being the worst and 7 being the best. How excited are you for this Sunday's edition of AEW Revolution. He didn't spend money on it, but he did spend time. Bobby, if you would please hit the 1 to 7 music.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come on.
Couple scores coming in here. Matty Mack with a 6, McCamps with a 5.5, Kev Sell with 6.75, the Coward 7, Corvax 1266 with the full 7, Double X 307 with a 5.5, Paul Abdul with the full 7. Who I'm going to call that Kyle Cushman with the full 7. I'm going to call that the spiritual 625. I'm not the Zoobs here at reading this. How does that go along with you, Goo? Looking forward to Sunday.
Yeah, I think the other day when asked about it, I think I said like 6.5 before they even announced some of these most recent matches. And it was only because there was nothing I wasn't looking forward to, but there was a couple matches where it was like I'm not peak excited, and who knows, it could go. I'm interested in them, but they could go poorly. Was sort of how I was viewing it, and they've added more. None that I'm like that really raises it for me, but I also feel like I would be contradictory. If I said I was max excitement, I got to be 7, I guess.
Love
You
it.
know?
I'm an easy full 7 here too. That's yeah, I'm just so pumped for Sunday. The Oscars are on. I love the movies, and I feel like one of the last people who likes watching award shows, and I'm missing the Oscars for this, and I don't even feel that bad about it because I'm so psyched.
Conan's hosted too, you know.
I know. Goo, it's always such a pleasure having you around Wrestling Brain. I am picking the conglomeration. You're on the Dogs?
I'm going Dogs, yeah.
Go on the record. Who pins who? You made an incredible
Okay.
prediction on your AEW Dudes debut. This could be, I mean, you stand to lose a lot of ground here too. This is a hard call.
I was thinking the way to go would be like, what would be the like big feud or like the next feud you would want to have out of it? So I was thinking maybe since we haven't gotten as much Finley, I would say he pins. Honestly, I know we're thinking that it's going to be Gabe and Darby feuding more. What if he pins Darby and they do him and Darby? I think that would be fresh, like new matchup. I'm into it.
Goo in the house. I guess see it on Wednesday again if you're right.
Please.
Thanks so much for coming on, brother. Check out Flashback 64. I'm on a couple episodes of it. Always enjoy my time on that show and listening. So really appreciate your time, Goo. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Kyle, you can come on in whenever you want. Kyle Cushman, of course, from the Score. It's a good hair night here on the preview show, Bobby, of course, with you and Goo, but Kyle's coming on here.
Oh,
and
yeah.
a really nice, I mean, he might show us all up with the mop.
Yeah. A broadcast quality mop. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm just going to let him know. Come in whenever. And there we go.
Oh, I see him.
And there he is.
And now everyone else will as
Got
well.
me?
We got you loud and clear, brother. Thanks for making some time.
Of course, happy to be on again.
Look at this head of hair. I wasn't lying. It's a strong night of hair on the Revolution preview show. Kyle, of course, from the Score. I genius around the channel. One of the best pick'em players.
If the shoe fits.
But Kyle, I didn't know this. I got to see you playing every instrument to a song on Instagram. I didn't know we're both music nerds turned to talk about other stuff. I always like that archetype of person.
Yeah, my when I was born, my dad was in a band. So when I started getting into music again, like 10-ish years ago now, he got the bug again, and then I got the bug, and then we feed off each other. And so I'm not great by any means, but I can play some simple stuff, and that was a lot of fun.
Very cool, and I enjoy seeing that kind of thing. I'll get it from you too, dude. How are you feeling about the pay-per-view, and more particularly, wherever you are on it, do you feel like this time off has helped AEW Revolution and going into it?
I would say certainly. Like my excitement for this pay-per-view is largely because it's been so long, like since we've had a full pay-per-view. And obviously the card looks really good and there's a lot of very exciting matches. But when you've had multiple months now, multiple weeks away from having that pay-per-view, when you're used to basically 3 weeks and then boom, we're right back into that pay-per-view week. It ramps up that excitement again. So it's nice to get the calendar year of pay-per-views going. And I think there's a lot of exciting stuff on this card that leads into both the card being good and the time off combining for me being a full 7 on this one.
Totally with you. And I love this matchup that we're here to talk about, Marina Shafir and Toni Storm, because I say on the show all the time, lots of different ways I can enjoy pro wrestling. I want to see the best. I'm even interested in seeing the worst. But this is something like the highest end tryout match imaginable. That doesn't quite capture what I mean, but this is the final exam for how far have you come, Marina Shafir. You know what I'm saying? We've put this
Absolutely.
focus on her. She has constant moments with Moxley, who's the main character of the show, many weeks of of Dynamite. And now she gets argued certainly one of, if not the best wrestler that they have on the entire roster. Where's your expectations for this match as a match and for Marina's performance on Sunday?
Yeah, that's an interesting one because I'm kind of trying to go in this one without any expectations, and I
Yeah.
think like letting Marina kind of show what she's got. And we had this matchup in January on a Dynamite, and kind of had that weird finish, and we maybe thought it was going to be the big blow off, and it didn't end up being that. And now we get this on the pay per view, which is an even bigger stage for them to have that match, and maybe raises the stakes even more again. And after like some recent promos between the two, and the culmination of this after like 3 or 4 months of these two having some interactions, like
Has been.
I'm very intrigued to see what this is for Marina going into it. And like John Moxley had that walk and talk with Renee recently, and kind of talked about like it had been like 18 months of Marina going in and performing like a pro athlete, and paying the attention and trying to grow like a pro athlete. And like you mentioned, this is the ultimate kind of tryout showcase match, like however you want to describe it. Like it doesn't get much bigger than this going up against Tony Storm. So regardless of whether she's going over or losing or whatever the case is here, I think ultimately a lot of this will come down to like the performance for Marina in this. And I'm very excited to see
Mhm.
what it is. And in terms of the expectations, like she's never really had that standout singles match in AEW. She's had some moments elsewhere that I know you've been into, but it's a huge opportunity to, okay, we've put time and effort into you. You've put the time and effort in, go out and show what you've got on a pay per view card. I'm really excited for this.
And I totally do think that Tony is a savvy enough wrestler that they are going to enter the Marina zone for this one. Because you're right. My favorite, the stuff I would point to that I like of Marina's besides character work is all outside of AEW match wise. I actually think she's still quite limited when she's forced to get in there and do the thing. But that said, great wrestlers can bring out greatness in others. And I think that Tony Storm knows that if we make this more of a blood sport, martial arts, sort of enter the Marina wheelhouse where she can feel more comfortable, that's how we make her. But that sort of brings me to this. Do you think Marina can win here? Is there a chance they give her this win? I don't especially see it.
I think there's a chance, but I think like obviously whenever Tony Storm's in a matchup like this, she's going to be the overwhelming favorite. What I kind of think about is the what the plans are afterwards, where what's happening with the Death Riders. We feels like every pay per view we're like, is John Moxley finally getting kicked out? Are they finally turning on him? And if it does happen, well, having Marina lose and potentially being involved with the Death Riders after that on the same card is a weird combination. So there's a path to it there. But I kind of look at the kind of conversation between these two over a couple of promos, and specifically the most recent one with Tony, kind of talking about how it's this match and then she's going back for the world championship again. And especially when you think about Tekla currently holding that, whatever it is down the road, you think about that potential matchup, and that gets you really excited in terms of heel face and Tony and Tekla, new matchup for that, all that kind of thing. So I do ultimately think that Tony's the favorite here. That's who I would pick here, but I can see a path for Marina picking up a bit of a surprise win and kind of making her, and depending in what direction they want to go on longer term.
I see how you've won so many brain stickers because you sort of unlocked me thinking about the other side. Because if you want to think of the end game, which I think is probably Tony Storm challenging for one of the titles at All In, one way or the other. I don't think she'll be champ entering it, but I think she's probably in one of the title matches. A loss to Marina here actually probably helps that timeline a little bit
Absolutely,
more unless you are just gonna ever lose to Tekla and then restart that road. Although I suppose I haven't really thought about if I think Tekla's champ entering All In, but if she is, then I would say Marina is maybe your more likely winner here. So as always, Kyle asking great questions. Where has Marina come as we enter this match? We can talk about this exiting it too, because the women's division is, I feel like, sort of having this not schism in any sort of mood or community way, but schism of talent where there's a very clear who's there and who isn't right now and who can bring others along. I don't think Marina's in the latter camp yet, but do you think there's a chance Marina is in, I'll just say it, outside of the bottom of the heap of this division? Like, could she go out and show that tomorrow?
That's kind of what she has to do, right? Like the opportunity here is showing that you've leveled up over a year and a half or however long it's been with the Death Riders. And to that point about the talent coming in, like the thing that gets me kind of up for this match as well is the fact that this is a women's match on a pay-per-view card that doesn't have a title or a tournament associated with it. Like you look
Very rare.
over recent years in AEW and it's been like one per year, if that. And so starting the calendar year with one of those and having a feud that's been built over a couple of months now gets me excited for hopefully more investment in the women's division with this influx of talent as well. And yeah, the big thing for Marina here is showing up and kind of proving that you've elevated from what you were before, where nobody was really intrigued when it was Marina on the card, to when she's in multi-man or multi-person matches. Like there's some excitement there, but still lackluster in those singles matches. And again, like we kind of talked about, like you don't really get much of bigger stage in a singles match than Tony Storm on a pay-per-view.
I'd really like to see, and you're totally right, and I think it's even especially worth calling out because this is only a 10-match card. This is 2 matches shy of the normal AEW, and they've had less pay-per-views. So after all this time off, they have a shorter card with more women's matches, which does mark change sort of all over the place. I think you're savvy to call it out. It is also just a nice feature of having Tony Storm and now Mercedes Moné not as I know Mercedes isn't on TV right now, but they are people that, if anything, you run the risk of they're going to eclipse the champion in of importance while they're on TV, but can have TV time when they want it. And I do think that's just helpful to the division on whole. I'm ultimately picking Tony Storm here. Will you do it, Kyle, the ultimate picker? Will you go and pick Marina Shafir, or are you sticking with Timeless?
I gotta go Tony Storm here. I would love to see the route that they go with if Marina does pick up the win. But ultimately, I think the most likely circumstances here is Tony gets the win, gets back in the title contention window, and maybe she drops out of that and then pushes back again once it gets to all in time or something like that. But yeah, Tony Storm is the pick here for me. When in doubt, pick the former champ in this kind of circumstance. But I'm very intrigued to see what Marina has coming up here in this weekend, because it is that ultimate showcase match on a pay-per-view, and you don't really see that too often, especially here in AEW.
A little additional info for us here. 1848 Mikey in the chat letting us know the Death Riders have a main event against Mystico and Co. at Arena Mexico the weekend after Revolution. So probably staying together for at least one more pay-per-view cycle. Thank you, Mikey, for helping me not look stupid, as on another pay-per-view post show, I will be like, well, it's got to be on Wednesday. It's got to be on
Hey, if you
Dynamite.
pick it every week, eventually you're going to be right.
Well, I'll victory lap it once I am right. It'll
Of
undo
course.
all the months of getting it wrong. Kyle, I always love you having you on the show, man. What a pro. Comes on here, spits little gold. Anything you want to let the people know about where, I know you're doing the PWHL. I don't know about where you live. Very hot product here in Vancouver. I feel like the Golden Eyes are on the tip of everyone's tongues. And I feel like, at least it seems like you're sort of on that wave or on that cutting edge, which is very cool to me. Not
Yeah,
really
I love to hear that. Yeah, the Golden Knights have been such a fun story to watch this year. Haven't been like as successful on the ice as maybe a lot of people were hoping for, but big stretch run here coming up. Yeah, I do a lot of PWHL coverage. You can find that on my Twitter at Kyle_Kush CUSH. And then I do some cross posting on Instagram for the people that don't really like to be in the cesspool that is Twitter nowadays. So you can find that there. Kyle Cushman_PWHL as well. And yeah, thanks for having me. It's always fun to jump on here and talk some wrestling.
I recommend the Instagram follow. Again, I loved the video of you playing the
glad.
tunes. Couldn't recommend it anymore. Kyle, we'll have you on again soon, man. Love and energy.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Take
making some
care.
time. Look at that, Bobby. Adding a little, no one would say I add professionalism to the place, you know? I feel like Kyle can show up and sort of gussy the place up, add a little shine to it.
Well, don't. I agree that Kyle always does, but don't sell yourself short. Yeah, I think you got the broadcast chops to. You could be on TV if you wanted to be.
Oh yeah, I mean, they came calling. If it
Yeah.
wasn't for my morals and my,
Yeah.
I was just such a good person that I said no, I can't take the millions, Walt. I gotta.
I'd rather split the hundreds with Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, like a real man of honor do. Aaron,
Mhm.
you can come in whenever you want. I'm gonna let Aaron know.
I got a couple follow-up questions from the first two matches if you want to
Please, Bobby. Yeah,
put
hit
them
me,
in
Bobby.
here.
Yeah.
I'll start with the Marina Tony Storm match just because you just finished on it. Everyone's banned from ringside. We're in Los Angeles. Any inclination towards it being Ronda Rousey time?
No chance, even though Ronda Rousey's my new favorite person in the world.
I don't know any context about why you would be saying that. Literally, I don't. But
Oh my God, I can't get into it here at length, but in a world where the UFC is taking over and wrenching combat sports and destroying it, Ronda Rousey said fuck you to them in her return fight and is on like a publicity spree against the UFC promoting her fight for Netflix on May 15th, I believe. Ronda
Right.
Rousey, never somebody I've been a massive fan of. Now my favorite person in the world. She's speaking truth to power. She's
Yeah.
like, the UFC is ruining combat sports. And she's dead right. Let's get to them. My goodness. I just got to say it. Aaron, you have maybe never looked better. What a look from my brother Aaron Campo here on the Wrestling Brain Revolution Preview Show.
That was so nice, Josh. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
The pleasure is always mine, brother. I love talking to you about all things, but pro wrestling certainly among them. How are you feeling about this pay-per-view in general? Where's sort of your head at as we're taking a longer time off than usual in between shows?
Yeah, I don't think it's suffered for that reason, particularly. I'm a little less excited than I normally would be, but I don't know how much of that is the show and how much of it is the fact that I'm going to be in Arizona when the show is happening, so I won't be able to watch live, and I'm traveling. It's just like there's so much other stuff going on.
Not live is ruinous to my
Yeah.
enjoyment.
It's rough. So fortunately, I think I'll be busy enough that I can ignore, social media and not get spoiled too terribly. But it does hurt. But there are some matches that they're not bad in a vacuum, but I'm just not as excited about maybe. That should still be good, but I think I said it was at like at a 5.5 or so. And that's
still a nice, fine rating.
It's still going to be the best thing I watch on TV all month, right? So that's
Thank you, AEW.
That's about all you can ask for. Yeah.
Aaron, can you guess why I had you on for this match? Swerve Strickland versus Brody King.
I think I can probably take a guess,
Why do you think I had you on?
Well, I'm, hometown boy Swerve against a guy who is spiritually, I feel like a hometown boy, like very,
this is a very
Tacoma
Pacific
energy.
Northwest this match has happened in Defy, I believe, twice.
It has. Yeah. Yeah. That match is going to be on their YouTube on Friday. So
I actually plan on watching it. Maybe if it's on early enough, I'll stream it in the Discord because I think it'll be a fun one to watch together as sort of prep for Sunday. So you're a 5.5. You're solidly looking forward to this show, not able to watch it live. Yeah. In the hierarchy of these matches, where are you with this one? Where of that percentage of enjoyment? How much of that is being carried by these two in the build and then of the match?
Man, I'm tempted to say it's the one I'm most excited about.
It's mine.
Yeah, I mean, the Texas stuff is going to be incredible, obviously.
Mox Takeshita is the one competing.
Mox Takeshita is going to be, that one's the other one that's competing, but this one is just really interesting to me because there aren't stakes, right? Which kind of makes it more interesting because where they go from here, I think is going to be really interesting depending on what the outcome is. So I'm excited to see where they go for sure.
It's interesting because there is no stipulation on it. Neither of them are probably the next title challenger. Like there's an outside chance for Swerve if Hangman wins that they want to do that because it's a short turnaround to Dynasty. Only 4 weeks of Dynamite. Swerve Hangman, something you could just pull the trigger on immediately. However, this most dangerous wrestler in AEW thing keeps bouncing around in my brain because, again, I stand to look extremely stupid on Sunday for the post show, which I hope everybody comes back after the pay-per-view. I'll be here live talking about it. But don't they have to do something incredibly dangerous in this match? Doesn't the winner have to win in a dangerous way?
I think you have to. I think that the whole genesis of the feud being a catchphrase that came from an offhanded remark in another guy's promo is a little silly. So you've got to pay it off, right? You've got to
Have to.
Yeah, and I don't, I don't know what that looks like. Swerve has done some nasty stuff before, so I'm excited to see what he can cook up. But it's probably going to involve the chain, right? I think that
Yeah.
the breaking the chain was probably not a coincidence. Like maybe he just brings out a much bigger chain. I don't know.
I would love if the gimmick was just a thicker chain. He like
Right, it
makes a
just
point
keeps
and he's
getting
like, all right,
bigger. Yeah.
you can break a 14 gauge chain, but I
Right.
went to Home Depot. I said, give me your densest steel. And now I got that, Brody King, and you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like I said, Mox Takeshita or this match is my most anticipated, but this is my most anticipated match because, and again, I'm setting myself up for disappointment, but I outright think it would be promotional malpractice and scared booking to have Brody King lose here. This is a identity making moment for Brody King and for AEW. These fuck ice chants have caught fire. They have gone away a little bit as I think the stories exited the news a little bit. But I'm going to tell you, Los Angeles will be ground zero for that sort of thing for Brody King. And Swerve Strickland, they have this embassy towel. Him and Nana obviously have a faction planned. You just have Brody King win this one with no stip. And then the faction comes in, they get all the heat back for Swerve, and then you set up some big stip match that Swerve wins and he's on his way to the world. There's so many ways you can still do it. And I feel like AEW, and I don't know if you agree with me, Aaron, sometimes it's just like people say stuff like, well, Swerve has to win. And it's like, well, yeah. In the kayfabe hierarchy that exists right now, you're right. In the way that nothing can ever change and everything's in stasis and we think Swerve's a high-level performer, you're right. But I feel the opposite. I feel like the time, when has there been a more obvious win to give a guy ever than Brody King in LA against the Swerve Strickland, who's also hot and just turned heel? It's an actual heel against an actual babyface in the babyface's backyard. Am I off my rocker here, Aaron?
No, I agree with you 100%. I think that when you've got a chance to make a guy a true top of the card guy, like you do here with Brody, you've got to go for it. I mean, that's been a struggle that they've had a little bit over the years.
Sure.
And Brody is hot. He's gotten better on the mic. I think he's figured out his character a little bit where, he's never going to be a guy that's blowing anybody away with his promos, but he doesn't have to be. He looks and wrestles like Brody King, so it's fine. And I think that this almost telegraphs the later show, right? If Swerve wins, because if Swerve wins, it makes you think, well, I think there's a pretty good chance Hangman is winning because that's a really obvious feud. And then they don't have a lot of time before Will Ospreay comes back. And so that would be a little bit annoying to at least feel like it was being telegraphed, even if that's my own, headcanon. But
my headcanon's like 6 months out right now, so I hear you.
Yeah. More than anything, though, I just think the reality is Swerve can afford a loss. Like, Swerve, you can instantly put him in a world title feud and it doesn't matter. And, he just got a win over Kenny Omega. Like, a clean, more or less clean win over Kenny Omega. Like, that's, you can eat a couple of losses to guys on the way up, especially if you're going to get your heat back. I think there's a good chance that this match, because it doesn't have a stip, that this match leads to a second match that does.
I think these guys are rematching is likely. Although, again, this is what's so great about this card and why you want an active main event scene is that you have 3 matches where you can go, well, this person winning would make this person relevant. So it all becomes like this domino Rube Goldberg machine of undoing the thing instead of like these vacuum. You actually feel like there is escalation. And so it's like, oh, well, these two could rematch because they have to stay in the world title scene. I love that. And AEW really used to be deficit of that. And they've done a good job fighting it. Bobby, do you have the keep it or kick it music handy?
I do.
We're going to do our only keep it or kick it of the night. Aaron's on. You got to act like if not now, then when? And let's do it, Bobby. Chat, get ready. Keep it or kick it. Of course, I'm about to give a statement. You're going to keep it if you agree with it. Kick it if you disagree with it. It's just that easy. Here we go. Keep it or kick it. This statement. By the end of AEW Revolution, we will see at least parts of Swerve Strickland's new faction.
Keep it or kick it. Keep it or kick it. Keep it or kick it. it, okay, good. Keep it, 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 keep it. Keep it, okay, good. Keep it, okay, good. Keep it, okay, good. Keep it, okay, good. Keep it, 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 keep it.
Kev Cell, Flashback 64 Pod, Keeg 1717, The Matty Mac, Paula Abdullah the Butcher, 1848 Mikey, Corvax 1266, all keeping it. Jeff Cobb, Salad, and Kyle Cushman hitting with the kicks. Aaron, where are you? Are we seeing Embassy 9.0 or whatever it would be at this point by the time the show ends?
I think I'm like
Bobby
70.
liked that one. I thought Bobby with a joke. You love him. Embassy 9.0 got it. Look at that. Dun, 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 dun. You gotta love it.
Yeah. I think I'm like 70-30. Yes.
Cool.
I think we don't see them tonight. That means there's probably going to be another match, and that's when we see them. But I think especially if Brody wins, it's such an obvious thing to do, right? I think so. I think there's a very good chance we see one or two of the new folks, and I'm really curious who it's going to be, right? I think eventually somebody established as a babyface is going to turn and join the embassy, and I think that'll be the big thing. But I think maybe a couple of the heavies might show up on Sunday.
Double X307 jumping in with a kick. I agree with you that there will be somebody defecting to it. Any names cross your mind as who you think's likely, or any just wishes, people you'd like to see hanging out with Nana and Swerve?
Man, so Kevin Knight feels like the one that a lot of people have brought up, and I can see it. I think that he could potentially benefit from a heel turn at some point, but it's almost like he's so on the ascendancy. Like, do you really want him being number 2 in a faction? So
I said that on last show week's AEW dudes. Like, is he the second in Swerve Strickland's faction, Kevin Knight?
Right.
Because I'm with you. I don't see him at like the international title level yet, but could he be there in a year?
Yeah. I think you mentioned Brian Cage. I think, and that, I mean, it would be pretty fun.
The perfect heavy for anyone. Dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've done it before, right? It worked out pretty well. Although I guess that they did turn on him the last time they were together.
Yeah,
but,
well, the past is the past. I can forgive anything after 3 years.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, there isn't anyone top of mind that.
How
really
about this? I'll pitch you one.
Yeah.
Double X307 in chat suggesting that he doesn't think this is happening, but he saw speculation of a Buddy Matthews return, and he turns on Brody and joins Swerve.
Man, I kind of like that.
I don't mind that either. I don't especially see it, but I saw a video of him and Rhea Ripley the other day, and he is like the most jacked guy on the roster should he come back. Like, he is Pac, Brian Cage. Like he's been watching the tape. He's been hitting the weights.
He is insane to look at. And I think like it's tough to find a guy who is more insane to look at than Swerve at this point. Like, Swerve looks ridiculous as well. So like
Swerve still looks good though. He doesn't look
right. That's the thing.
Up. Whereas like, I feel like Buddy Matthews is like, you wouldn't describe him as like, you wouldn't trade bodies with it. Like,
no,
like, I still want to look like a person. He's like, I want to look like a pro wrestler. And pro wrestlers should not be able to look good in suits. You know what I'm saying? Pride Kenta Kobashi, there's no photo of him looking normal in a suit. They don't make suits for a guy like him. No more than they make a suit for a barrel, and it seems like Buddy Matthews is chasing that, and I love it.
Buddy Matthews would only fit into the Talking Heads suits, I think. Like, he would just, and they would be tight on him.
David Burns Taylor's got him.
Yeah, exactly. No, I actually do really like that. I don't know how healthy he is, but I could see him coming in as a guy who doesn't have to wrestle that much, right? If they want to take it slow with his recovery and return to physicality. So I love that. Now I'm excited about the possibility. I don't know how close he is to an in-ring return or anything, but I think that's the kind of guy I would like to see, right? Just like a big dude who, like, Buddy Matthews, I know is not everybody's favorite, but I actually like him quite a bit. I liked what he and Brody were doing before he got hurt last time. And I think he could be finisher. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I liked House of Black despite Malachi Black being in it, because I thought, Brody and Buddy were cool. So Yeah, I'm super in on that. But I think if not him, a guy in that mold is the first guy I want to see join this faction, right? Just like a big
Yeah.
dude that can eat some pins on the way to facing off against Swerve and be convincingly terrifying is a good way to go. If he wasn't wrestling Brody, Brody would be perfect for that, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is sort of funny to think
Yeah.
about, isn't it? Well, Aaron, the heart wants what the heart wants. Mine wants Brody King to take the win. But who are you picking? Regardless of what you want, which way are you leaning? Who's actually picking up the win here?
I am leaning Swerve, but I am not super confident about that. The thing that gives me pause is that Swerve hasn't had his first big win as a heel. He turned after beating Kenny. I guess you could argue that he turned during the match, but he went into the match as a face. And Brody has been, it's kind of felt like his match with MJF was sort of like the apex of his push. And now he's a credible guy that Swerve can go over to reestablish himself as a heel. That's the sort of conventional logic, I think, and it's why I lean that way. But AEW likes to surprise people, and this is, I could definitely see Brody going over, but if I were putting money on it, it would probably be on Swerve, I think.
I'm going to pick Brody. I'm going to think Tony is seeing what I'm seeing and no Swerve can get the win back next month in Vancouver. But that's where I'm at. Aaron, thank you so much for jumping on the house party, man. That haircut is money.
Oh, thank you so much, brother. It was tough. It's been 7 years since I've cut my hair in any
You would have been in the long flowing hair club with well, looks magnificent. Makes me want to do a little something.
Yeah, whatever you do to your hair will look incredible, I'm sure.
Wow, that's very nice, brother. Appreciate you.
All right.
There he is. We love him. Aaron Campo is on the way out. Thanks, Aaron. Bob, we've got Scoob Dog in the chat saying Iron Sheik, Mad Dog Vachon, and the Crusher would destroy any of these so-called wrestlers today. And I gotta say, that's just a great comment. Prove me wrong. I'll tell you, Aaron Wolf would sorely beat the fuck out of those three guys all at the same time. Aaron Wolf would spin those guys like pizza on his finger before choking them out or breaking their leg in a moment.
Yeah, Aaron Wolf. I mean, there's nothing more to be said.
Arguably the best shooter ever in wrestling. We'd love to see it. Bobby, I've given us a little bit of breathing room here. I'm going to cover the women's tag match just so you and I can recalibrate. So you and I can sort of settle in, catch our breath. How's the show been going so far? I mean, I feel like the guests have all been bringing the heat.
Oh, yeah. Very good. Everybody's a pro. That's the thing I'm always amazed by with this is we have such a deep bench of people who can come in and hit it in 10 minutes and ride off into the sunset, no problem. So I expect more of it.
Well, and then you look around us here. You got this beautiful screen that Bobby made. Robert Hamburg's window. We love to see it. And these are heavy production nights, Bobby. 10 people in, 10 people out. So appreciate you very much for everything you've done. Do you want to chat a little women's tag action with me?
Yeah. This is a weird one, man. When have we ever done anything like this on an AEW pay-per-view?
Yeah, they didn't do what you would call is the smoothest setup for this match. Is yesterday Willow was sort of tasked with setting up a TBS title defense on the pre-show, which we have to talk about as it parlays into this match. I think they are inextricable. I think one is going to directly lead to the result of the other. I do think she will successfully defend her TBS title on the preview on the pre-show rather. This is the preview show.
I think that's a given to me, yeah.
But are Lana Cross and Megan Bayne gonna get over on Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron? I think so.
I think they would have to, and sorry, not to interrupt you, but
please.
I was thinking about this a lot earlier because I know that our audience, and especially you and the other hosts on this channel, are very pro Megan Bayne for good reason. I was thinking about this and I don't know that they could have done more over the last 2 or 3 months to make her not seem like a big, strong killer than they have. And if she can't beat somebody, her tag team partner's bigger than her somehow. The champion
that
will
is
have
true.
lost or already won a match, I assume, against her partner who is gigantic, who should have already taken a bunch out of her, you know, maybe an hour before this match. Like, if Megan Bayne loses this match by any means, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
She is made to look like the weakest 6'3" or whatever woman on earth. Like, whatever she is, she's gigantic.
Well, and what would even be the point at this point? I don't think there's one person who thinks that these tag belts are being served on Willow and Harley. I think at least the sense I get from our listenership is that those two are more being hampered by the belts. Like Willow, they want doing TV title defenses and in like relevant programs and singles. Again, they could have done it better than squeezing these. This is twice now that they've just made like one feud, the feud for both belts. And it's like, that's the least interesting possible way to do this. Like, I already thought this was a bad idea. And now just intermingling it all as one just feels like not what I want to do. I am expecting the title change here, though. What about from a match quality standpoint and Lena Cross here, Bobby? Do you have expectations for... I've only seen the clips that have been posted in the Discord of Lena Cross. I'm not very familiar at all. Oh, and the Collision appearance. But not very familiar with her. But I kind of feel like it's not going to be hard for me to be impressed. The team of Megan Bayne and Lena Cross has to do one thing. You know what I'm saying?
Totally. And I also think that both her and Megan Bayne are pretty high work rate, considering
I agree
that they don't need to be at all. Like, they could just be giants that throw people around. But they're definitely willing to get into the muck with their opponents, and I expect them to. Like, I don't think that this is going to be a squash or anything like that. And they're far from the greenest person in the match. That's obviously Harley. I do kind of worry that Willow will like legit be a little bit tired, and how is she going to carry?
Not easy to wrestle
Harley?
2 matches in it. Like, it's not a... Any fight fan will tell you these old one night tournaments used to be people who couldn't get to the second fight.
For sure,
Fight the wrestling match or the same thing, but they would win the first fight and then be unable to answer the bell for a fight an hour later. Just not long enough. I imagine this will probably go later on in the card. This could even be second last, I could see, to give Willow sort of your maximum rest possible. I could see that happening. And just on a wrestler level, I think it's a real cool move from Willow to be like, yeah, I'm down to do 2 in a night. Like, it's a hardcore go out there and work thing that I absolutely love to see out of a wrestler. So cool stuff here. I'm hoping for mostly a Lena Cross showcase where I can learn more about her and to see her and Megan Bayne. I'd love to see a strong win here, especially with the Willow weakening. I thought the way Zoobs laid it out on the Wednesday show made a lot of sense, where it's not Willow who's tired and gets pinned because of it, but she just can't save Harley anymore. Like, Harley's in danger too many times, and one shot takes Willow out, and she just can't get there. I think that is ultimately more interesting. And I think Harley's a talented enough personality that she can do something with that too.
Yeah, you get the visual of her getting pinned with Willow reaching through the ropes and, you know, hand through but can't quite get there. That works for 100%. Me.
Well, Bobby, how about we get back to the guests? As much as people love you and I, the Wrestling Brain proper people, it's a house party. They want people to party. And here's a great partier. I always see this guy. I don't know if this counts as partying, but I would love to party in this way with him, because he's always having a nice drink somewhere. He seems to know where the bars are. I follow him on Instagram. I go, okay, this guy knows where the good eats and the nice drinks are. Brian Bredrick from Battle Royale with Cheese joining us. I should have asked him his real last name. This is a online friendship thing where I was like, I'll just put him in here as this. Maybe he's fine with that. Who knows? But we'll get him in here in a minute to talk about another one that I'm really excited about. Again, this is a stacked ass card. We got Andrade and Bandito here. And this is I don't know, your guaranteed gasoline on the fire match, your surefire work rate hitter.
It's embarrassing just how much, the embarrassment of riches that they have, all these guys. Andrade just falling back in their lap. I'll let you guys talk about it, but it's ridiculous.
Thank you, Bobby, and we will talk about it. I will just say that I hope, and I'll see if Brian agrees with me here in a sec. He's coming in. And there he is. Battle Royale with Cheese host. Brian is in the house. What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing great, Josh. Happy to be here. Hey, Bobby.
Hello.
Look, greeting the producers of that. You know what Brian just did, Bobby? You'll appreciate this. This is people who went over and shook Paul Schaefer's hand on the way to the Letterman.
That's right. Yeah, maybe
Now
even
they're like,
give
let me show a little reverence for the real head around here. Let me,
Exactly right. Exactly.
a little
right.
nod to Morty on the way over.
yeah, exactly right. Brian, I was just about to say, and you're here, of course, to talk about Andrade versus Bandito, a match I'm really excited about. I was just going to say that I hope the energy in their match matches their promo segment where Andrade was like not taking Bandito very seriously. It's like, I'm going to junior you. I'm going to little brother you. And then we can sort of see Bandito earn that respect throughout the match. And then they just go all out when Andrade wakes up and gets the full version going. Is that kind of how you see this one going? And in terms of excited just to watch the match, where's this one on your list for the night?
Well, to answer your second question first, I would say very excited. I think that it probably won't be my match of the night when all's said and done, but would anyone be surprised if this was a show stealer? Probably not.
Well said.
I think that, these two could really put on a corker, which would be great. And I think the way you laid it out is pretty much right now how I expect it to go. I think, they didn't even, correct me if I'm wrong, but they weren't even on this week's Dynamite. I think they're saving their stuff for Collision, right?
Yeah.
So last week was sort of like the go home in a way on the main show for this feud. So I guess that is sort of how I anticipate the match kind of going. But I'm really excited to see what these two kind of unleash on each other.
Obviously, I think we all have similar expectations for what style these two are going to go and work. It would be surprising if they decided to put on some sort of ground technician mat classic in the world of sports style. They both be capable of it, though, I have no doubt. But how often, I'm speaking specifically to Bandito here, I don't feel like it's often he gets another luchador where he can just go pedal down on a pay-per-view. Of course, he got Takeshita in a couple big spots. But do you think this is like, I'm kind of expecting this to be Bandito's lucha ceiling, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I don't mean to set such high expectations for it, but who else if not Andrade to get him there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the lucha guys can always surprise you. Like, I remember that wild 2 out of 3 falls match that Hologram and Beast Mortos had on a show like
That was
2
that on
years ago.
Collision?
I don't even remember at this point, but
Oh no, I think
remember,
it was a pay-per-view. You're right.
but that was such a great example of like, holy hell, like no one was going into the show thinking that would be like such a huge match. And it ended up being like a real ripper, which was incredible. And I kind of expect the same here. And Andrade's also like a sneaky great base.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think that they're going to work together like peanut butter and chocolate.
First of all, one of the great combos of all time. Although I do believe that Reese is getting worse. That's just my opinion. I still fly the flag, still like the orange and yellow, but I do think they're getting worse. And I'm a guy who I've had a lot of them. This is,
You
if
just
there was
talk about that.
I'd be happy to, frankly. The shitification of everything. I know that word's so overused, but let me tell you, they came for Reese. They got Reese's. They said we can make you smaller and worse for more money, and Reese said, I said I can't. Now I'm so passionate about the peanut butter cup industry. It's my own bane, my cross to carry. But if there was ever a mask versus hair match that I was dying to see, when I saw the poster of this first got, and again the match graphics, I think for this entire pay-per-view, I really like, despite people saying they stole the Wrestling Brain colors. They can have them if they're going to crank them out looking this good. Although maybe, is that egotistical for me to say I like them and then people say they look like our graphics? Anyway, I like the graphics. But this is interesting to me because Bandito is your Ring of Honor world champion. So if you can convince Andrade to go work Ring of Honor, it makes sense for me for Andrade to win here, and that sets up your next Ring of Honor pay-per-view. But do you see Andrade as the main event of a Ring of Honor pay-per-view? Is he I know Takeshita's been there, but Andrade just seems like a little harder to play ball with to me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I think that that's probably how I see it too. I almost feel like it would be kind of a waste in the way that I feel like Bandito being the ROH champion is kind of a waste.
Yeah.
Like I looked up Cage Match just because I was curious what was what was Bandito's most recent match. And it was some anonymous 8-man tag on ROH against like Arya Davari and a bunch of other guys. And it's just like, Andrade doesn't need that. Bandito doesn't need that. You know,
you're better doing nothing.
Yeah, I agree. But also this is sort of like the diminishing returns of titles, but that's an evergreen topic for AEW.
No question. I think truer than ever, maybe for the Ring of Honor world title. I don't mind them going to a studio show. I actually think there's some utility to it, but your world champ is going to lose some shine. Like Bandito, it isn't like, wow, he really fills up this studio. It's like Bandito's kind of toiling down here and then he gets called up. So I don't know. So with that in mind, who are you picking in this match? If both of us think that maybe it's not an Andrade Bandito Ring of Honor main, do you think that Bandito does just win this match?
So I think that if I had to pick and thinking that maybe Brody's going to beat Swerve, I guess I'd go Andrade's probably live to beat Bandito, and that's probably the way it should go. Not because, but I think it'll be like a great showing, like pride in a loss kind of thing. Although I did have a brief hesitation when you brought up the idea of doing this as a mask versus hair, because the hit that Andrade's whole vibe would take,
You're
that would
right.
be catastrophic right
You
now.
have to unmask Bandito. for
Yeah,
the
I'm
record.
sorry. I don't
Yeah.
care what he looks like. You just can't get rid of Andrade's hair.
You can't change anything about Andrade. One of the all-time great wrestling looks happening
Yeah.
in front of us. Yeah, that's a great shout by you. You have to unmask Bandito. There's no two ways around it.
Yeah, but to follow up on that in terms of I also think that if you wanted to, and I know the Will Ospreay return is looming, but I've kind of become like I think you just got to put the title on Andrade for a little bit this summer and have like
Ooh.
divorced guy summer for AEW and lean really hard into it while the iron is hot. I strongly feel this is the way to go.
Divorce Guy Summer is something that I've never been married. I'm not divorced, but let me tell you, I've been on Divorce Guy Summer as it pertains to wrestling. It sounds outstanding to me.
What? And there's no crossover between divorced guys and wrestling? Come on, you got you've got a marketed base right there.
It's one of the biggest Venn diagrams there is. You're talking about
Yeah,
a
that's a
perfect
circle, my friend.
Yeah, one of the more divorced groups of people there's ever been on the road. I think you're dead on correct there. Where is what you said that this isn't maybe your outright prediction for match of the night? Where are you for that? What is your outright call for? I think this is going to be the match of the night on AEW Revolution.
So I think that it's a common refrain in the chat that it's just I'm so all in on everything John Moxley's doing that like even if the match is just okay, I'll be like, yeah, but Mox was the one doing it, so
I know
it's kind of the best. Like, and the thing too is that in the way that Mox works, it's sort of like he's so good that what he's about is not about star ratings, but that makes his matches even better
and stand
in a
out in
way.
AEW. I think, like, for whatever we could say about Andrade and Bandito, it's competing for a very high version of that Southern California lucha influenced indie style that's really at the root of AEW. And I'm very happy to see that for the record. But I do think the stuff that isn't that, and I think the dogs earlier on this card bring a lot of that to the table to garner an advantage.
Yeah.
I'm on Andrade winning here one way or another, even though I think pinning a champion is a little strange. I just don't think the Ring of Honor world title is anything. And I think Bandito, even though I suspect on the pick'em sheet, which again, patreon.com/J0SHC, it's up for free patrons right now. You want one of these fabric stickers if you go perfect. I suspect Bandito might be the more popular pick, but I'm going to go with Andrade on this one. What else, Brian? Where can people find Battle? What did you just put up for Battle Royale? You went to Say Hey, didn't you?
We did, yeah. So we returned after our winter hiatus with an episode on Say Hey Cafe, which I know, Bobby, you were just at as well, and Josh, you were just at as well, and I was just at as well, but all separately. So someday we'll have to hit the trio together. But it is really like I could wax poetic about their sandwiches in a very real way. It's a really important place to me. And I think it's such a great neighborhood shop. And I highly recommend if you like food, if you're into the food scene in Vancouver, you can listen to me and my friend Jill talk long form about food and what makes food places great in a way that's 1,000% more fun to listen to than a 60-second Instagram reel that just lets you know a restaurant exists.
Beautifully said. And even if you don't live in Vancouver, just hearing people chat about food passionately works for me. So definitely recommend it. Look it up where you can find it. Battle Royale with cheese. Brian, thank you for joining and with a great video and audio. Everybody's killing it tonight on the video and audio connections. Looking great. I mean, what a bunch of hitters here. Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Thanks, Bobby. And, I just try to meet the high standard that Wrestling Brain sets.
Wow, this guy. Big baby face exit there.
Smooth. I love it.
Yeah, might as well say Josh is right. That level of pandering,
Yeah.
I don't think it's embarrassing though. I think it rules. I think that when they say flattery will get you everywhere.
Yeah, I unironically agree.
I'm really excited for that one, Andrade and Bandito.
Yeah, I really hope Dave Meltzer survives it. When you guys were talking
yes,
about
he in the building for it.
When you talking about star ratings, I was like, I actually am kind of worried about Big Dave on this one, you know?
That is so hilarious. Jack, you can come on in whenever you're set up, brother. Come on in. It'll be exciting to go through this matchup here. Again, as I go through it, I'm sort of just looking at these like, oh yeah, this one. But I think there's actually quite a bit to talk about with this match as Tekla and Chris Statlander go for their third go around. Bobby, I didn't see this one coming. Oh well, here he is. He calls himself the newsboy of post wrestling. He is one of my favorite followers on Blue Sky. I get the sense we have a lot of similar interests. Jack Wanin's in the house. Hey, Jack, welcome. Thanks for making your wrestling brain debut, man.
Thanks for inviting me. First time caller, long time listener. I'm happy to chat about some AEW. And when you first pitched this appearance, and I was told that I was going to be given one of the matches on the card, I was really hoping I'd get this one. So it kind of worked
Oh,
out perfectly.
love to hear that. Well, I'll just let you run from there. What is it about this match that you were sort of like, oh, maybe this one could go my way?
Well, there are both a lot of pros and a lot of cons that I have to say about this match in particular. We're talking here about Chris Statlander versus Tekla for the Women's World Championship.
Yes, thank you.
Um, I think that Tekla and Statlander are both incredibly skilled individuals, and just an example of sort of how the women's division, everybody in there, or at least some of the top names, are just such a full package, both in ring, talking, everything. They are both that. This feud, unfortunately, has been dealt a really rough hand over the past few weeks,
Mhm.
and I think that can be said in terms of the spots it's been given on TV, very much sometimes sequestered to Collision at some points. The challenge that Statlander laid out for this match was a social media exclusive. Um, so
That's so tough.
yeah, it hasn't always been given the best spotlight, and I think that some people have been down sort of on Statlander's title reign in general and sort of what's come after that. So there are reasons that have sort of taken away from this matchup. But at the same time, I still look at what Tekla and what Statlander can bring to the ring and what they could do in a best two, three falls match. And, I'm still looking forward to this one.
So you could consider me somebody who's basically the most mixed person there's ever been on Chris Statlander, where there was no bigger advocate 2-3 years ago for her to win the title and to go with her than me. I think she's arguably their very best in-ring woman, and I would rank her up there with the very best people anywhere on the roster. I love her wrestling, and I also think she has a great understanding of who her character is when she's wrestling. But I do admit that she's a tricky champion to book, because giving her, I don't think that her mic time matches her wrestling. And sometimes I do think that like more spotlight on her promo segments takes away. She is like the biggest candidate for a manager let her wrestle and beat up people on the roster that I can think of. And when you're up against Tekla, who to me is arguably maybe, and again, I'm not very familiar with Tekla before AEW, so she has all that new kid at school energy for me. But I'm as interested in Tekla as a character as anybody on the roster by far. I love watching her. I don't even like the other two Sisters of Sin, and I love their segments. I'm so interested in Tekla. I think Tekla is great. And I do think when you have that dynamic, putting them too much together in promo segments could lead to Tekla swallowing Chris Statlander. I don't know if that's been the lack of camera time for this feud, but if it is, I can understand arriving at it. But if that's the case, you need to give them a long time in this 2 out of 3 falls match to make up for that and give them the time to tell that in the story, where I think they both are more effective. So I want to talk to you about that side of it. Where do you think of like a 2 out of 3 falls match, the stipulation here, which you love when somebody's down 2 to a wrestler, right? Because they can present themselves in a tie if Chris Statlander can pin Tekla twice here. How do you see the stip is servicing this match?
I think I think it gives them a chance to do a real proper wrestling match and really showcase what both these women can do in that sort of stipulation. I think um, I don't know how much the stipulation will necessarily play into the match per se, but like I do think that they can deliver a really solid pure wrestling match with a best two or three falls. And I'm hoping that, not to skip to the prediction here, but
No,
I'm
please.
hoping that this is a real spotlight for Tekla and sort of her coming out party in a sense, because you think of this sort of feud with Statlander, and it has come during this start of the year period with no pay-per-views, and this is a feud that's been
Right.
entirely TV thus far. So,
Yeah,
for her
that's
having
hilarious. They're 2 matches in, yet to have a pay-per-view match.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Huh.
and it's sort of a testament to how AEW sort of has this pay-per-view off season of sorts, for the first part of the year. Because it's crazy to think that we're in March and we're getting to the first pay-per-view of the
It
year despite
really
them
is.
doing so many. Um, but, I think that it being the first pay-per-view of this title feud, this is the chance for her to, really be given a big spotlight and have that big moment to show that she is the top woman in the division. Because, like I said, with how little of a spotlight this feud has been given at times, it kind of feels like everyone's forgetting that she's the top woman in the division.
If the end goal here, Jack, is let's make Tekla, let's help her ascend to where I think you and I probably think she can go. Let's get the energy and the eyeballs behind her. Would you consider letting her go 2-0 against Statlander here in the 2 out of 3 falls match, which would put her 4 pins to 0? It'd be quite the, you're then telling the story of she just has Chris Statlander's number. But is that an actual booking strength? Like, would that be seen as a big push for Tekla, or would that just sort of be forgotten? Or I guess more specifically, would you consider doing that here?
It's funny because it's like pro wrestling logic almost makes me want to say that like under no circumstance should anybody ever win a best of 3 2-0. Like it just feels so like against what pro wrestling booking goes for. I'm not against the idea, but I am, I do want to protect Statlander to some extent because as much as I want Tekla to be elevated, I think Statlander had a really weak title run, and if she gets sort of taken out of the title picture by losing in a very one-sided fashion, I think that's a pretty bad testament to sort of how they feel about her at this point in time, and it would really kick her down to, you know, pretty low in the power rankings of the women's division, if you want to say it that way. So, I'm not against the idea, but I would prefer, for her to show some fight in this one and get a fall.
Let me pitch this your way. Willow Nightingale successfully defends the TBS title on the pre-show and getting not squashed. I still want a great match and Chris looked competitive, but Tekla ultimately does go 2-0 on Chris. And that is what sort of drives her to do this heel turn. And we get to her and Willow for the TBS title. Now, again, I probably would never beat Willow, so we might be in sort of a tricky position here. But is a heel turn something you might consider for Stat off? Because I'm picking her to lose here, and it sounds like you are too, regardless of how many falls. Do we see a heel turn after this match coming?
Considering I just wasn't too hot on her title reign last year, and I really felt like everything they did with her, despite having great performances and those things like that, really didn't resonate with the crowd to a certain extent. I
Yeah.
think it's time for them to do something fresh with her, and if that means taking a risk and seeing what it's like to turn her heel, I'm totally for that.
How about just from a in-ring standpoint? If they do give these two the time, I actually think this can compete for match of the night. I think that these two have, again, if they use the stipulation in a way that maximizes the enjoyment of the match, not a storytelling way. Do you think this can sort of hit that upper echelon of AW pay-per-view matches have a high bar to clear, as we all know? Do you think this can sort of stand tall amongst the best of them on the night?
Well, it's just gonna come down to what you said, time. If they are given the time, I think they can absolutely deliver one of the better matches on the show. Placement, I think, is also really important. They had an incredible strap match a few weeks back, but a lot of the momentum from that match was taken away from the fact that they were following a Young Bucks three-way tag match,
Yeah.
which tore the house down. And it was unfortunate because that strap match was pretty good.
I like the
But
strap match way more than I like the Young Bucks match. How about that?
yeah, yeah, exactly, but it came in front of such a, comatose crowd just because of the placement, so time and placement are so crucial for this one, especially since the feud hasn't necessarily been too hot. It's not gonna inherently rile the crowd up, but if they can get put in the right position with the right amount of time, I think this can definitely be one of the better matches of the night.
I'm hopeful too. This is only a 10 match card, which I'm taking, excuse me, as a signal that some of these things are going to go long. And sometimes I can be guilty of, is this match good or is it just long? Like, I do love a long wrestling match. There's no doubt about it. But what I don't want for these two is where the 2 out of 3 fall stip means nothing. We've all seen these matches where they both get a fall very quickly, or it goes like 6 minutes and then they both get a fall instantly, and then it's just a match. I'd really like them to lean heavy here and let Chris Statlander ascend, because, or not ascend in terms of win the match, but like at least let her breathe on the way out of the world title scene, because I really do think this is where she does her best work, is in between the ropes and the minutes and the matches. And I, yeah, she's an interesting case. I'm interested in Chris Statlander. I don't have great clarity of where she goes from here after losing, but
Yeah, it's weird because, like, it feels like we're going into a rebuilding era with her, which feels unfortunate because it almost felt like if it was done better, that title run could have been, sort of her final, like the long
Yeah.
awaited push to the top, because she's someone who for years people have talked about, hey, she has so much potential to be a huge player in the division, and once she's up at that point, you can just keep her there for a long time. But we're 6 months removed or so from her getting the title, and we're already talking about like how do we start her anew, which I think is unfortunate because how much of that is actually a testament to her skill as a wrestler? I don't think a lot of it is. I think it's just a lot of wrong place, wrong time, and a lot of interesting stuff happening around her that really stole the spotlight.
I think that that's a good read. Now, Jack, I'll let you know. I'm old now, but when I was young, I loved The Law, and so of course I'm a huge fan of John and Way and everything you guys are doing over at Post. What's your coverage looking like this week? You on Revolution at all? You on that horrible UFC card?
I am not on the horrible UFC card, thankfully. I am on Revolution. I'm. It's going to be exciting to cover the marathon that is a Revolution card live. I haven't done any sort of evening AEW pay-per-view coverage for the
Oh,
site
hell
before, so
yeah!
that'll be fun. I do want to do a quick plug before we go.
Please.
Tomorrow morning on the site, we do at the start of every weekend, we do a TV guide, which is a guide to all the wrestling that's happening around the weekend and where you can watch it all. Because there's so much more to wrestling than just the top promotions. And we go high and low, we go niche and mainstream in wrestling, and find all the gems that you can watch. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes late at night, all around the clock.
And that's every Friday morning?
Every Friday morning on the site.
Postwrestling.com. Go every Friday morning and check out the TV guide. That's an awesome service you guys provide. I'll definitely take advantage
Appreciate
of
it.
that. Jack, hell of a debut, man. Please come back soon, and we'll be checking out your Revolution coverage over on Post. Thanks so much, dude.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Bobby, we love a debutante around here, don't we?
We do, especially a very well-spoken, well-thought-out debutante. Got to
Killed
appreciate the effort put in, the preparation. I love it. Makes
A
the job
beast
of producing so easy,
100%. Big shout out to Jack London making his Wrestling Brain debut. Now a man known very much to the Wrestling Brain universe. Of course, he's a fashion icon, I would say, first and foremost. He's the mod of the channel. He's covering the New Japan Cup over on his YouTube channel, youtube.com/MattyMac_. My brother Matty Mac's in the house. Matty Mac, how are you enjoying the house party so far?
House party's great, man. A couple drinks, you know how it goes.
Hell. Yeah, what sort of guy were you at a house party?
Oh, I still am, I've evolved over the years.
Yeah, who are you now, I guess? Maybe the more interesting question.
Yeah, I don't know how much we can say on Twitch.
Yeah, very little.
Yeah, a little of this, a little
You're the
of
guy
that.
who has fun.
I like to have fun. I like to see my friends and be around them.
And he loves to keep it G-rated, most importantly of all.
I like to have fun.
Matty Mac, thank you for making some time to join us on the house party. I've got you on here for the trios title match. It's the Don Callis family, Kazuchika Okada, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis versus Mystico, Speedball, and Kevin Knight. Start here. How athletic is the team of Mystico, Speedball, and Kevin Knight?
Very. It's very athletic, and it's interesting because they're not all other than Kyle Fletcher, they're not the youngest dudes out there either. And
No, I guess that's true.
They're at the peak of their physicality and athleticism. It's awesome.
And of course, we get more of Mystico and Okada. Anytime they cross paths, it feels like royalty meeting in a way to me, like these top guys of their federations, but at the same time, but never especially cross paths. Outside of that, is there a pairing in this match you're looking forward to? And what are your expectations for this sort of like on the show as a match? Where's it going? How's it going to do?
Yeah, I think that this match, it offers a lot in terms of what's going to happen next for a lot of different guys. And that to me was the interesting thing. When I saw I pulled this match on the show, I was like, it's too bad. And then I did a little bit more looking into it, and it really struck me as a time that Kevin Knight can really show out on a big stage, which he will. He has to. Mystico, like you said, and Okada, anytime those two are mentioned, it's the top of two biggest feds in the world, especially when Okada was in New Japan. And Mystico is kind of like the hangman of CMLL, so they brought him in with the two guys that were formerly with Hangman. And then as far as matchups, I want to see Kevin Knight and Fletcher. Kevin Knight and Mark Davis.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit. We got teased a little bit with the Aussie Open tag action last time. They were
He threw him the
obviously
weapon.
threw him the weapon. And prior to that, when they were in the match together, I think it was another trios match. They didn't totally get all their Aussie Open shit in because they're bad guys, and a lot of their moveset is definitely a little flashier when they're a tag, unit. So I think this will get a bit of time, and I think they'll have time to show out a little bit, especially with how over Kyle is.
I agree with you that on its face, it maybe doesn't look like the juiciest match on the card. But let me throw a couple things down your. What am I trying to say here? Throw the pitch down your.
Yeah, groove one in here.
Yeah, I'll groove one in there.
Yeah.
I think that Kyle Fletcher is teasing a babyface turn. And I think that Speedball Bailey or Kevin Knight will turn in the next 2 weeks. And I am picking the team of Mystico and Jetboat to lose this match because I think that the person who takes the pin, that's going to cause some friction between Jet Speed. Do you see this dynamic developing in this match? Like, is this going to be the moment that it's sort of made clear?
I think so. And I think something has to happen. I think we're at the point now where it's like, okay, we've seen that Speedball can't die. We've seen that Kevin Knight thrives. He's had big wins against Darby Allin and Okada, I believe. Like those are statement wins. And people are saying, oh, Knight's gonna maybe go with Swerve, turn heel, etc. I don't think that's the right move. I think honestly, I think of the two, Speedball turning heel would be more beneficial to everyone involved.
I agree with you.
He has the same match every time, regardless of if he's babyface or heel. And if he can work in a few more like nefarious means throughout his matches, I think that'll even endear himself more to guys like us too. Because right now it's just flash, 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 flash. And if he's a bad guy, he'll lose more, which needs to happen. And he will absolutely benefit from that. Kevin Knight as a babyface will thrive. He already is a babyface and he's thriving, but solo, yeah, exactly. Solo, sky's the limit for him. It's not going to happen right away, but he's going to be the man.
Totally with you. And in like a practical sense as well, I don't know that Kevin Knight helps a faction who's trying to be heel. Like, again, he could get people to boo him because he's very good and he has stuff that people want to do. I have no doubt of his capabilities, but right now, do people want to cheer or boo Kevin Knight? Well, they want to cheer him because he's stupendous and he does outrageous stuff every time. He does a coast to coast in like every TV match. He can stop doing that stuff, but Swerve already is going to be fighting to not get cheered at every moment because nobody actually dislikes Swerve Strickland. Everybody thinks he's so cool. It's like the definitive cool heel. So if that's what you're going for, Kevin Knight's a good ad, but he's only going to add to the cheer us column. Whereas you sign Steve Macklin, you sign Dan Lambert, you get a heel faction going.
Yeah, get those guys with Speedball. Holy smokes.
Heat, call Thursday night. We're getting some heat going then.
Yes, sir.
Matty Mac, we always love having you on the channel. Is there anything else you want to say about this trio match?
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it more than I look forward to a lot of other trios matches. I think the Okada influence, where he's kind of been with Proto Okada, Takeshita, all these things are kind of involved. Don Callis family, there's just a lot of stuff going on with them. Whether it's going to be, sorry, I'm long-winded here.
No, you're all good, man. You're killing it.
I just think that something has to happen within the Don Callis family, and something has to happen within this Speedball and Kevin Knight duo. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that all breaks down, whether there's, Okada as well could be featured in the No Time Limit match as well. So a lot of stuff going on in this one. I'm looking forward to seeing Mystico and Okada in the same ring in LA is going to be crazy in front of 9,000, however many people are getting in there.
Who's going to be the most over guy in this match? In LA, Revolution pay-per-view, no movie fans that are watching the Oscars.
It's going to be Okada.
I think so too.
Yeah, he's just going to do everything right. He's going to play all the beats. He knows his character so well now within AEW, now that he's outside of the elite. He just got it dialed. His facials are so funny, man. He's just an absolute number one guy, which we all knew, but it's nice seeing that emerge again outside of the Hee Haw gang and being in a more serious up stable, even though he is providing a lot of that comedic relief.
Yeah, now
and
he's just a
timing,
funny
especially.
guy.
Yeah.
And finally, Matty Mac, who pins who in this matchup? We think the baby faces are losing. Who do you think pins the member of that team?
I think Kyle Fletcher pins Kevin Knight.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good pick and gives a lot of direction to go. Matty, how's the New Japan Cup going? What's it? You got a new review tomorrow, Friday?
It'll be out this weekend just because instead of torturing myself and doing multiple shows per round, like I did in 2024, I am just doing it per round. So it's a pretty slow tournament this year. And so, yeah, I think Sunday morning I should have the round 2 wrapped up, and round 1, not so good, but I watched it so you don't have to. It's 27 minutes long up on YouTube. It's me just fumfering around talking about what happens within the matches, what the implications are moving on, and then, joking around about stuff that I don't like.
I love it. I'll definitely be checking that out Sunday morning. He is Matty Mac. He's probably booted you from the chat at some point. Love and energy, Matty. We'll talk to you soon. Fashion icon.
Peace, guys. Thank you.
Nice to see our brother Matty Mac. Hey, Bobby.
Oh, the best. I love him.
Must have been hard for you to not talk there.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask Matty if he thinks that Mystico does his big Arena Mexico entrance in LA.
I don't think so.
Probably would not serve the match very well for him to be like, hey, by the way, I'm way bigger than this. I don't need this.
Although there's gonna be enough Mexican people in that building that they can maybe, without like that insane crowd sing along, I just don't know that it'll hit the same. You know what I'm saying? It feels like dragon chasing.
They did it on a Dynamite that wasn't in Arena Mexico like a couple weeks
with
after.
That song or is normal?
Yeah, no, they did with that song, and they had the camera panning around the crowd, and nobody knew the words, and it was like, no, it wasn't the same. You know?
No old people are crying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if there's not a senior citizen weeping into his cup, I'm not interested.
It's what we were missing.
Yeah, it really was. And now, from Riffipedia, for the second time in as many weeks, Matt Reynos is in
cannot hear you at the moment. Hold on.
Oh, Matt can't hear us, but we can hear him, which is almost the funniest version of this.
Oh, no.
He's in a... Now, he may be doing a fake retirement bit. He's wearing a little bit of salmon on screen. Can you hear us, Matt? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Bobby.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you.
Oh, did he save it at the last second?
You hear me?
Yeah, but now we can hear us, too.
We hear each other?
I don't think you can hear me, can you?
I can hear you.
Oh, I can hear you great then. I think we're in business.
Yeah, great. All right, let's go.
Well, let's get into it, Matt. AEW Revolution this Sunday, and of course, welcome to the show. Appreciate you making some time. How are you feeling? I feel like this is, I don't know if it's one of the more divisive matches on the card, but I don't feel like generally people are as excited for the Young Bucks versus FTR as I am, or as maybe the feud deserves. I don't really know exactly how to put it, but these guys are the two greatest tag teams of their generation. They are wrestling in the Young Bucks' backyard with their natural alignments in AEW. Where are you on this one? Are you pumped for this, or are you feeling like, we could be doing something different?
Look, I mean, I think you have to be excited. This is one of the most anticipated matches of full year 2020. I think, I am personally on board to watch these guys go as often as they'd like, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's a chance they don't deliver. And as you said, it's their natural alignments. I think, this is the sort of thing that people might go in underestimating, but there's no way that like by the end of the night, people are like, oh, that match kind of sucked. Like, I don't think there's any chance that this doesn't live up to what it is. And I think it's been long enough, certainly since the last time they've had a proper go at it.
Maybe this is crazy, but I'm just expecting their best match here. I actually don't like, they've always had good matches, but they've both had better matches with other tag teams in AEW. And that shouldn't be the case. Like, the bar for the two best tag teams of the generation wrestling each other. And again, I think Young Bucks, LA Babyface, FTR, I don't know if they've ever been better as heels than with this run with Stokely. Like, I really feel like if they're going to do their signature match, this is actually the place to do it. But
It's definitely,
yeah, go ahead, please.
sorry, it's definitely like they're having their signature match is still like, it's one thing that neither team has done here, right? They've both had, amazing matches elsewhere. The FTR with the Briscoes, the Bucks. I mean, hard to say. I guess you'd probably say versus like the Lucha Brothers is probably their peak AEW.
Golden Lovers. Oh yeah, sorry, in AEW.
Like
Yeah.
peak AEW rivalry, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say so too.
I think with I think they have a lot of the right things. The crowd's going to be super hot. Stokely's going to be involved. I'm sure he'll have some fun spot that'll get everyone off their seats. I think it's wide open for the taking, and it's a crowded show. It might be hard for them to I guess it's hard for them to stand out, and maybe that necessitates them going all out for this one.
Yeah, especially without a stipulation, I think that's especially true. Like, you could see them almost wanting to go. I mean, they've done ladder, but sort of find reason to do it again. I almost respect that they didn't, and be leaning a bit more on the crowd. I actually think this is a hard match to call, Matt. I don't know how the pick'em sheets are going. Again, patreon.com/J0SHC, available to free and paid patrons. But I find this one tough to pick. Do you have a lean on who should win and who do you think will win?
Honestly, I think just by virtue of the kind of hometown crowd for the Bucks, I think you could probably have the Bucks go over here, get the big reaction. Maybe you do that based on how many baby faces are going over in the night, and I lean that I think the MJF's gonna win, so maybe you give the hometown crowd something here. You give them the Bucks. I think either team can easily keep carrying things forward, and take this, inconsistent division and just give it the consistency it deserves. So I wouldn't be unhappy either way, but I think just to give the crowd something to cheer for, this might be, I think putting the Bucks over is the right idea.
Now I'm going to make you twist your brain a little bit. This is where we go wrestling brain mode. I think that Cope and Christian are coming back at this pay-per-view. I'm of the belief, and if not, they'll be on Dynamite. I guess what I should say is I'm of the belief that Cope and Christian are going to challenge the winners of this at Dynasty. I think the tag title match in Vancouver is the Canadian tag team returning. Or else I don't know where the fuck those guys are or what they're doing. So I don't know what else could possibly be going. Do you agree with me that that's at least quite live? I'm outright predicting it.
No, I think that's like on the table at literally any moment. And that I'm of two minds of that, right? Like, that is a feud that definitely doesn't need belts, right? If they wanted to go after FTR again, they could absolutely just do that at any time. I would think, like, if FTR lost, they're not showing up at the pay-per-view to beat up the team that just lost. There's a worst case scenario where like Edge interferes and helps the Bucks. That's too stupid. They're baby faces. That won't happen.
I hope not.
But I think Edge and Christian versus the Bucks is also like, a money match. It's something that people probably are going to want to see. I think if babyface.
It's FTR who took out Beth.
True. You know what? With Beth involved, I might have to switch over and go FTR's winning this, because there's nothing. Do you know? There's something real wrong with a team that thinks they can go after a man's wife.
Guys like you and I, we find that disrespectful behavior.
If somebody went after my Beth, we all have a Beth in our lives, or we hope to have a Beth in our lives at least.
What would you do?
Look, I would come up with some sort of really complicated stipulation to have a title match with them in my hometown.
That is the best way to get back at anybody. It is, honestly. You can't lose in that.
You invent a new stipulation.
Yeah. So with that thinking, I am actually picking FTR to retain here, but not because of any read of the feud with the Bucks or their direction itself, purely because I think that Cope and Christian have to pay off that. They get the titles on Cope and Christian, and then the Bucks can find reason to challenge, maybe like a tournament where you can justify a babyface match, something to that effect. But either way, I'm expecting an absolute corker in front of a hot crowd here. I think this one might open the show, Matt. Do you have a read on card placement for where this tag match is going to go?
Yeah, I would think this either opens the show or is sort of in that spot where it begins our like final sequence. Like,
the
you
good
have
stuff
like
starts.
a hot opener, a couple of really good matches to start off. Then maybe there's like a cool down somewhere in the middle, and this comes after that cool down to prepare for like the last three matches. do this women's title main event, something like that.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I
After
think you get
Andrade and
really-
Bandito have exhausted the crowd, you see who
Yeah.
can get anything back.
I think one of those two is probably either the opener, and either way, I think the fact that they are not doing the stipulation shows that they're taking this seriously, right? They want this to be that signature match. Otherwise, I think they would have done something, because I'm sure a lot of people, in the decision-making room on, at AEW Unreal were like, oh, we got to have some sort of stipulation. This is old news. How are we going to do this? But I think they probably, I would assume they kind of insisted, no, we just want to go straight up.
Here's a layup of a question for you. Does Cash Wheeler do something truly insane in this match?
Yes. I think Cash Wheeler is, this is his time to prove that he's not the second banana here, which he does every time. And I think he just kind of has that sort of stand. I think just by looking very normal, being a very normal looking wrestler, people assume he's the second banana. He's like a guy, you see him on the street, I feel like you wouldn't think much of him. So he has to stand out. He's got kind of that middle child syndrome.
It's true. I think that only makes him doper too, where he has an awareness of it. He lost the singles match to Dax in the tournament. Dax always gets to be there's no question who the A side functionally is in FDR.
Yeah, he's designated number 2, and for basically no real reason. Maybe
exactly.
Dax is I guess a better promo, but not.
I don't even know if that's true. I don't know if I think Cash is arguably the better promo of them.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's just because I feel like Cash is talking or Dax is talking more.
Yeah.
Dax
has a look, I guess. Dax looks like he has a look.
I've got to say, Dax, I've been out on his. I think he should have those mutton chops that he had in WWE. I think that was much more I gave him more of a difference. Another bald guy with a mustache or beard. Who gives a shit? He should have something else. He hasn't had that distinctive feature for a while. He just is kind of holding on to the kind of the echoes of those mutton chops.
I think the answer here is he has to do a mustache versus mask match with a luchador, and then he shaves the mustache, and then he grows the mutton chops.
I think there's a lot of good stuff there. I think we've discovered their path after Edge and Christian avenge Beth.
Matt, tell people about Riffipedia. I love the concept of this podcast. I think this is good stuff. I think you're a very funny guy. Let people know where they can find it and what it's about.
Oh, cool. Riffipedia. It's a podcast where me and my friend, a fellow comedian, we press the random article button on Wikipedia, and we just talk about whatever comes up. So we talk about a lot of shit that is extremely boring, but occasionally, we discover the real gems in there. It's really fun. We bring on what I'll call upcoming Brooklyn comedians on the show. Some people,
the stars of tomorrow.
Some people have some traction. Not me, but some people. We got some people that are getting somewhere.
I think you got a little traction, no man.
Look, it could be worse. I'm respected within the industry.
Respected in the industry.
The funny people agree to come on my podcast.
That's huge. And you made 2 appearances on Wrestling Brain in a week.
Look, and this is going to be great for the CV, right? Next time I apply for something, some festival, I just tell them, look, I don't know if you're part of the Wrestling Brain Patreon.
Yeah, send them this.
And they'll say, yes, of course we are.
Yeah, of course, we're one of the million people in there. The odds are.
They're like, yeah, the free tier, but yes.
Yeah, that's a lot more likely. Matt, you're the best. Thanks so much for coming on, brother. We'll catch you very soon. Love and energy.
Thanks for having me as always.
You betcha, dude. That guy cracks me up, Bobby. Now that said, I think he may have accidentally planted the seeds for a feud. He said, another bald guy with a mustache, who cares? Well, the Zoobs is on deck. Braver than I would be. Here he is, the other half of the Sword and Shield, my brother, and the only guy to talk about John Moxley versus Takeshita with. The Zoobs is in the house. How's your night been, Zoobs? It's late-ish on the East Coast. My energy's here.
That's good. Yeah, quietish. It's been a quietish night. Thursday's no Wednesday, and when I'm doing this, I'm not locked into TNA Impact, of course. So I'll have to catch up on that tomorrow morning.
I was gonna say you're a big get on Thursdays. Usually, I feel like
Yes.
no one can get to you. They know where you are. You're in front of the TV. You're on Sportsnet 360 at 6 p.m. Pacific.
I like to watch it on Sportsnet 360 and AMC Plus. I like to make sure that both sides of the border are getting my rating.
Well, I think that's very generous of you, and you get to sort of compare how the commercials are bad on both feeds. How they somehow manage to not get it right. They are different though, which almost equally as impressive. Zoobs, of course, this can maybe be off air, but I just gotta say, you do a bunch of people, Rolodex, and then you get your standard co-host late in the show. This is the way to do it. This is, I feel loosey goosey. I'm ready to swim now. Let's talk a little Konosuke Takeshita and John Moxley. Of course, we've waxed poetic endlessly about John Moxley, especially after this close-up with Renee Paquette came out. So let's focus a little bit on Konosuke Takeshita here. What would it do for him to win the Continental title? And where does he go in a loss from here if he doesn't do so?
I feel like he is kind of a guy when we talk about you talk about Brody King a little bit in this realm. I think it's a little bit of like he is sort of still searching for the actual push in AEW. I know they put him on top in Japan, and I mean he's beaten Kenny Omega before. He's had these
No, you're 100%
signature
right.
he's had signature wins, but doesn't feel like he has had the like establishing himself as the guy to beat in the company, even though you have Mox, for example, in the up close, sort of saying like he thinks Takeshita might be the only guy that can stand toe to toe and might be the best guy in the world, and all these sort of high praises that he gets. I feel like he is waiting for the crowning moment, the crowning
No question.
we are making him our guy, and a win over Mox with the Continental Championship, sort of the clean best in the world title. No storylines, no fluff. This is the best guy, bell to belt is on paper. Is that the title itself has been a little cloudy though, with sort of how it was tied up with Okada and how it was meshed in with the international. So I would love to feel a little higher on it than I would. I feel like the belt probably not as big of a token as sort of the going over Mox definitively and the being ready for the next step of challenge.
Beautifully said as ever, brother. And I think that next step, at least in my opinion, I don't know if you agree, is going to be paying off Okada. Hey, you beat me with that stupid screwdriver. You've got that international title as much as that thing even exists. I think the exit from the Don Callis family and this upcoming Okada match has to be this push. You know what? Maybe even I would have said Brody King is your number one case for that, but maybe Takeshita is even more under push. It's kind of weird he hasn't been world champ yet to some degree, or at least it's weird that another company made him world champion before his house company. Are you thinking he beats Mox here, Soups?
I wasn't, but it is sort of like I can also see them setting up this pay-per-view a little bit as a like here's who we're taking our shots on the back half of this decade. Of maybe it is Brody goes over and maybe it is Takeshita goes over. I think he probably should. I think he probably should, and I think one of the ways that I could see him not going over is a Don Callis family exit. It is Okada comes out and costs him.
That's what I
That is sort of what, if you would ask my expectation of what is happening, that is what I think is going to happen. Sort of they're going to start to line up Don looking at his group of bad guys with good guys waiting to break out within and saying, okay, we're separating this out. Fletcher and Takeshita, you can hit the road. Like you've done all we can for you. It's time for you to go.
And I think those would be the two. And it's sort of funny to think of those guys exiting the Don Callis family as baby faces. Like, well, there goes your arguable two best guys with respect to El Clone. Here's something nice about Takeshita losing, Zoobs. I'm about to plant a seed in your mind that will make you go, oh, phew. Because if he has the Continental title and Okada has the international title, these fuckers are going to try and unify that son of a gun again. And it's going to
They
drive
are.
me. I'm going to run
They
through
are.
a window on air. I'm going to take my camera, jump, glass shattering, blood everywhere. If they go and we reunify. So just for that alone, and in like sort of a practical sense, I don't know if you feel this. I don't think they are ready for Jon Moxley to not have a singles title in AEW.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like the Continental title is almost more in line with his ethos and what he's done for it. I know they go hand in hand, but he's almost going to be able to create a division out of it in a way that we're always calling for around these titles. And I just think Jon Moxley on the 20-minute time limit belt, I just don't see why you'd get this off of him at this point. I don't see it.
And he speaks so glowingly and strongly, and he more or less credits with, we'll call it his face turn, but his now positive reaction from the crowd, he almost entirely credits it to the Continental Classic, right? It's sort of like it's canon that he comes out of that tournament a changed man, and he mentions it whenever he can. He brings up the sacrifice and the pain that he and everybody who competed in that tournament went through. And I agree that I think he understands it and understands the difference between being Continental Champion and being AEW Champion, and sort of the what the different titles are supposed to mean. I think it's a common complaint between you and I of like they will bring in the national championship and it doesn't really have an identity, and the international was supposed to have the identity. Mox gets that the Continental Championship is supposed to be, as you say, the 20-minute belt. Can you beat the best guy bell to bell? Nothing else really matters. Championship. And I think he is really well positioned to do that, and really well positioned. We talk a lot about him being the guy that gives the thumbs up and thumbs down, the guy that we are trusting with the vision. I trust him to roll with a division and to roll with an idea of what a title is supposed to be and hand it over when it's the right time.
Zoobs, this card is steep. It, of course, has Young Bucks versus FTR. It has a Texas Death main event, which have incredible history of quality in AEW. But I think that this is probably my favorite for match of the night. I'm most looking forward to Brody King and Swerve Strickland because I feel like the build has been very strong and I want to see the result and how their styles come together. But I think odds on chalk favorite for match of the night, I just have to give it here. Like, if I said, here's Zoobs, here's the AEW roster, make a title match that you think you would enjoy on pay-per-view, there's a chance you land on this as your number one matchup, right? Like that's live.
Yeah, it certainly is, especially with the work that Mox is doing lately and how actualized he is. And then, Takeshita is the cheat code answer to this stuff of he is always impressing, always looking top of the card ready, always looking like that guy that is just sort of like they solved the what are we going to do after Kenny and Okada conversation by making them one guy and making him young. And like it's incredible. And yeah, I think beyond match of the night, like this has AEW match of the first half of the year potential. That's maybe I could be stronger, but I sort of like I think if you instead of going match of the year, if you went match of the first half and the second half of the year, so match of what's that, January through June, I think this has a really good potential to be in that tier and then be looking at it at the end of the year and being like, was this the best match that AEW had all year long? It has all the ingredients to do that.
I love it. A little off topic here. So we're both picking Jon Moxley, it sounds like.
I think we are.
A little off topic. Did AEW steal their graphics package from us?
Sure did. Did they ever? I mean,
look at it on our screen. Look at
they even took the blue. They even took the blue. It's like, it's crazy.
I mean, it is, it really, to see it on this screen that Bobby made using our colors, that he pops up the match graphic, it couldn't look anymore at home. Hey, AEW, it's all good. We don't need money. We're rich guys.
Haven't we done enough for these people? It's
yeah,
sort of
no shit. Free promotion.
Jesus.
Come on.
Here for the dark times, grading the show higher than we should have graded it. Like
we're very generous graders. Zoobs, of course, you are the best. What a mind for absolutely everything on the planet. But I love to talk to you for more than just your brain. What a person the Zoobs is. Pops on for the house party. Any message you'd like to send to the Brainiacs as we send you? I assume you're going to bed. You going to go watch something?
Oh yeah, I'm going to bed. Yeah, okay. It's bedtime. Yeah, big day tomorrow. So yeah, I'm off to bed. So no message. Just have a great rest of the show. I can't wait to listen to the entire show when it's my turn to listen.
He is the Zoobs. Love and energy, brother. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Wow. What a surge of energy. The sword and shield. I could go another 2 hours.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I just need a little SNS Express in me.
he fills the battery pack up.
That's right. The thin dogs.
That's right.
Getting in there.
I was gonna I didn't want to hold him up, but I did have a strong inclination towards asking Zoobs if he had a preview of Takeout Friday for us, maybe early.
Oh, I fucked up so bad.
What happened? What happened?
I didn't
Everything-
ask Zoobs what was on the table for Takeout Friday.
Oh man.
Of course,
Am I coming through all right?
Sound perfect, look perfect, brother.
Okay,
He is
beauty.
the bass player of the streaking Hotel Mira. He is my brother, Mike Noble, here to bring
What up?
home the Wrestling Brain House Party Preview Show. What's up, Mike? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me. Thanks for booking me for the main event. That was a nice little surprise when I got the rundown. I appreciate it.
Well, listen, man, I see where things are going, right? So it's not in earnest or nice in any way. I'm like, well, Mike is probably going to be famous in 4 or 5 years. So I'm just kind of playing. Hey, remember when I gave you the main event on my stream
True,
5
it's
years
true.
ago? Yeah, I'm like, kind of owe me $1 million. So that's kind of where my head's at.
Well, I will pay it forward when that million happens.
No, Mike, the truth is, this is why we're so close. Mike ain't afraid to say it. Mike will be wrong. Mike will predict. Mike will think outside the box. He's such a so I've saved some question. We'll talk about MJF and Hangman Page because there's a lot of meat on that bone. But I have a couple little ones I want to throw your way before we get to it. And some of these questions will come up through the preview show, but I want to hear your opinion on them.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah.
Do we still Will Ospreay in person on Sunday?
Yes.
What circumstance?
I think he comes out just as like he gives his like rah speech similar to when he like said he was going to sign. Remember when he came out at Full Gear that one time? Yeah. That sort of vibe. I think
so. Does it set up anything with anybody? Sort of a wave high,
maybe like teases something, but like nothing concrete. The thing is, it's like what I've learned about AEW as like literally a fan since day one, is that usually when things get reported, they happen very quickly.
Yep.
And there was like a little report being like, yeah, Ospreay's thinking of coming back. And then I was just like, oh, he's going to be back at Revolution. You know, like the David Finlay, like, oh, AEW's interested in David Finlay. And then fucking 2.5 hours later, he's beaten down Orange.
That is totally true. I think you can even read like Sean Ross Sapp tweets with certain language as information.
But yeah, to answer the question directly, I do think we see Will live and in person at the Kia Forum.
That's exactly
Forum,
right.
On Sunday.
I think it's the crypto.com arena this time, actually.
Yeah, and that's cooler.
Yeah.
I like to go to the crypto.com arena, and I'm a guy who knows what crypto is and could explain how it works and what its value is. So send me it. All of them. Doge, Bit, Ethereum is one.
Yeah.
Hit me. I'll take them.
I got nothing.
Okay, so Ospreay, you're saying back like a bad habit, no problem.
I think he's not going to be back as in like I'm cleared. Like I don't think that's going to be the promo. I think they're going to lead to some way of getting him to the All-In main event, and I think he's going to try to rush back to be in the Owen because I think they want to keep that through line as like a thing.
That's the road to All-In, yeah.
But I would imagine they'd be willing to bend the rules a little if that weren't the case.
Do we see Cope and Christian on Sunday?
Yeah, I think so.
Setting up FTR at Dynasty?
Yeah, I think the two teams that everyone wants Cope and Christian to see are facing each other. So I think with Dynasty being in Vancouver and us all being there, we will buy tickets to Wrestling Brain Live 4.
I forgot to promote it on fucking Double Dudes last night. Get a ticket.
Yeah.
WrestlingRain.net. There's 13 remain.
I was gonna say, by the time you listen to this, it might be sold out. And with 13 remaining, by the time if there's any left by the time you hear this, you need to get on it because like it will be a sellout. Yeah. So yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Great pitch.
No worries. Always be promoing.
Yeah, you don't have a full ticket.
Yeah. Where was I? Yeah. And I think Cope and Christian and the Young Bucks, I think, is the All-In match for what it's worth.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to start planting the seeds to that. And LA at the Crypto.com Arena is a big enough venue for that to happen.
Do we see Buddy Matthews on Sunday?
That's a good one. No, I don't think so.
Do we see the debut of Swerve Strickland's new faction?
No. This is going to play into my hanger prediction. So we'll.
Well, then, goddamn, let's get into it. Main event time, baby. Texas Death.
That's it on the questions?
That's it on the questions.
Okay, cool.
Texas Death, MJF versus Hangman Page. I think one of the better used stips in AEW history, because I would have thought this was 100% lock for MJF. And now I have no trouble admitting I don't know who I'm picking in this match. I'll give you a pick at the end of this. I'll go on the record and all that. But I think they've done a good job of obfuscating for me. I can just see situations exiting that make a ton of sense for both parties. And I think that that's ultimately interesting. I am going Hangman Page on the record, but let's talk through it, Mike. Who's your pick and where do you think you're going?
I have a lot to say about this match, and I'm glad you picked this match for me, because if you picked me like Tekla Statlander, I'd been like, oh yeah, 2 out of 3 falls, interesting. But
I'm excited for that match.
I am too, but there's a bit less meat on that bone for me here.
Sure.
Because you say best stipulation ever. I love Texas Deathmatch. They've never let me down. The second part of this stipulation drives me off the fucking wall. And like genuinely, like if MJF retains, it will actually take a hit in my AEW fandom.
I love this.
And I mean, I genuinely mean that in a sense of like I love Hangman Page. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. I think he tells a great story. I think that press conference where that guy was just like, who are you? It's like, I was just like, I was like,
I think that was Ibu.
Yeah, exactly. Self-made. But basically, what I mean to say is that like, I am like, there's things about stipulations where it's just like, okay, I get it. Like the parallel to me here is the Young Bucks versus Osprey and Swerve, where they're like, if you lose this match, you can't challenge for a year. You're like, that's believable, that's palatable.
Way better way to do it, but time out.
I don't like the ever is such like a like if MJF retains, not only does Hangman look fucking stupid, it's kind of just like you're taking away like what I think is a fundamental part of why people watch AEW in a way that like isn't kind of like, I don't think that like even
it respects you. AEW won't like use a step and then go back on it.
But so I am picking Hanger to retain for like my own fucking sanity. But like at this point, I would say that having this stipulation, even if not Hanger retains, Hanger wins. Even if Hanger wins, I don't think dangling the stipulation, the juice isn't worth the squeeze of it. Like this frustration I am feeling will not be resolved. I'm not going to be like, oh fuck yeah, Hanger won. Like he can still challenge for the title. I'm going to be like, thank God they didn't do something fucking dumb.
More relief than happiness.
Yeah, but
so when they first announced the you can never challenge again stip on TV, I was very against it. I was like, this is stupid. It reminds me of a bad thing, which I can't understand why like you are even starting with one. Oh, you remember how bad this was?
Yeah, well, it's just
but
like
I do think that I get the sense they want to make good on that and show that they know. Like, I'm with you. If MJF wins and this is just Hangman's going to turn heel and go back on the stip and be like, I don't care. That sucks. Like that's very New York pill. There's no doubt about it.
But let's go down this like thought experiment for a second where you were like, they're trying to go back on the goodwill of this, right? And like, I think that's the general conclusion people are reaching. But like, there is still the inkling that it's like, what if they just haven't learned their lesson? And the only relief that you get from Hanger winning is going, oh, they did. Not like, you know what I mean? It's
no, I get
like,
you here. I feel you.
It's just so like, and it's also just one of these things where it's like even in kayfabe, like let's go full kayfabe on this. Like, let's not talk about the meta. Let's not talk about like the stupidity of the booking. In full kayfabe, Hanger gets fucking regular title shots and always does. Everyone's coming for fucking MJF at any moment. He can't just be like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll just wait a month and then when someone eventually takes out MJF, I'll jump in there and get the title. Like he hasn't shown any like insistence on why now? Like why is like now like why is Revolution at the crypto.com arena? I'm carrying this bit through. Why is Revolution at crypto.com so key that he's willing to like give it all away, you know?
Just because, and I agree with you that it involves a step, but they at least did answer it where it's like MJF refuses to give him a match and refuses to have this stipulation unless he puts something on the line. And in
But-
that moment, Hangman thinks of something he can put on the line.
But that was the like okay, like I was under the impression that it was like it would need to be a Texas, like Hangman wanted to swing the odds in his favor by doing it as a Texas death match, right?
I think he wanted to get revenge, and a Texas death match lets him like hurt MJF and make him bleed. I don't think it was like a winning and losing thing.
But the idea was that like Hanger already had the title shot. He just wanted to have it as Texas death to
yes,
and that's what he put up. And like that just makes him like there like maybe there's like a heroic angle where he's just like this like troubled hero where he needs to like go too far and like that's his like character flaw. But he just kind of comes across as like a bit stupid. And that was before the Marty Skrull picture.
I read him as more caught up in the moment, but I do hear you.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, sorry.
No, please. I've been talking for 2 hours.
I do. Yeah, I'll take it. I'm fired up.
Yeah,
I do have Hanger winning based on 2 factors. One of them's like a half bit, and one of them's like actually real. The half bit is there's no way that's Hanger's last segment being a title challenger. Like
but
that.
No one thinks that. No one thinks that the stip will stick if he.
I know, but
which is a problem with it. But like,
yeah,
there's no one who thinks this is Hangman Page's last time challenger. For
there's just a part of me that like I feel Hangman Page. Like I think he has a very good wrestling brain, pardon the pun, but I think he has like a very good mind for the business. But there's a part of me that thinks he's like maybe working too far and being like, I can make this good.
Listen, the chat's with you. You're getting some Mike is rights and Mike is spitting, so you're not alone here.
What was I gonna say though? My other thing is that I think they pivoted this pretty hard because if you go back to even in like January or whatnot, you will find that basically it was fast, it was amazing. Like everyone was coming after MJF, right? Like it was just like you had like the Swerves and the Andrades and the Kennys and the Hangers of the world. Mm-hmm. I think with Swerve's heel turn, they pivoted. Like I think I like the fact that we're not gonna get MJF Swerve in the near future makes me think that MJF's run is coming to an end, and I think we're gonna get a Hanger Swerve main event program for the title.
I think the moment Swerve debuted with that extremely heel entrance music, they were just waiting to turn him. I thought they were going to turn him heel the whole. But I know what you mean, that it seems like a weird matchup to dodge. I think MJF is just the guy who doesn't need the title and is always going to get TV time.
Yeah,
like he has the longest reign in AEW history, and I think they're just going to let the title move around a bit until All In, and then Will Ospreay is going to hold that thing down and do the next whatever MJF run, Kenny run. I think that's fine. Like AEW having every title have to be the Okada reign is a deterrent, not anything good. So I think it bouncing around a bit is fine.
Yeah, I think we're due for a couple reigns, just just get some names on the strap, get some reigns going, get some history going, and I really truly hope that's the case. To go back to the Swerve faction, I think it's kind of like a no-brainer that we're getting like a Kevin Knight heel turn, potentially on the heels of this jet speed. Probably not like I don't think it's happening at Revolution, the jet speed turn, but like the cards are being laid, and like
could one of them take a pin, and that's like there's like a look from the other one, like
something like that. Like I think like Speedball's probably taking the pin, and Kevin's be like, "Oh, you're dead weight," all 111 pounds of him, and
you can still carry that even when he's alive.
Yeah, but I think that's coming sooner than later. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dynasty main event is like a Hanger Swerve situation, like it is the PNW. So like that's historically where they put on crazy matches.
Works for me.
And which will be interesting because I think we were looking at like a Kenny MJF when it was announced, and like a Kenny strap situation. I do think Kenny becomes champion heading into All In, and I think Will and Kenny is the All In main event. Hopefully we'll be there. I just gotta figure out my work schedule.
Will Kenny 3, you and me?
Yeah, dude. We'll be 2 for 3 on Will and Kenny's.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And then what else was I gonna say? Yeah, I just think I'm interested to see how the Dynasty card shapes up off the heels of Revolution, because I think it's not a very long turnaround. Like I
No,
feel
it's
like
4
we're gonna
weeks.
blink. Yeah. So I think a lot of
No,
seeds are gonna
it's
be
4
planted.
weeks from today. What am I talking about?
Yeah, so it's like 3
3
weeks.
Dynamites?
Yeah.
No, I guess I'm right. It is 4 Dynamites.
Yeah, and they've been building stuff on Collision and whatnot, and and like I think a lot of like the multi-man, like the fact that we're getting a trios defense instead of like a Fletcher singles and an Okada singles means we're probably gonna get an Okada and Fletcher singles at Dynasty, and hopefully that all plays out. But we'll see. It'll be good. And what was my one other thing? Oh yeah, Don Callis family's for sure working with MJF, and I think they're gonna get involved in the main event at some point.
So do you think, because people are predicting Okada getting involved in Takeshita and Moxley as well. So are you thinking just Don Callis all over this thing, or they're not present there?
I'm gonna say a situation. I don't think it's gonna happen, but like it would be cool if it did. Like I don't want to.
This is a great mic. You're fired up tonight.
Yeah,
This
dude.
is great.
I don't want to, like, how do I frame this? I don't want to be in a situation where if it does happen, people will be like, Mike, what a crazy prediction. But
you got to though. It's
I
the way to live.
am setting myself in a position where if it does happen, it'll be like Mike said it. So I'm kind of having my cake and eating it. I think the fact that it's Mox versus Takeshita, where it's both the faces of their heel factions, I think we get a double kick out. Like both Don Callis and Death Riders go heel on their people.
Cool. Let's do it. I mean, I said that on the show last night, so you don't gotta. I know you hate the show and you would never listen, but you're more of a soups guy. Mike, I want to ask you a couple more particular questions about the match, and we'll let you get out of here, and we'll send everybody else home for their nice night. And if you're listening to this again on the podcast feed on YouTube, please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Rate it if you're listening on a podcast. We appreciate it. And come back for the post show. I'll be live with Ryan the moment Revolution ends. We'll see if it lives up to this. But Mike, a couple questions about the match.
Yes.
Texas Death has historically been like some of the more violent matches AEW puts on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really expecting that as much as like MJF takes 2 giant bumps. Are you seeing this to the standard of like what Mox and Hangman have set as the Texas Death matches, or are you seeing this with a little MJF-ification?
I think MJF is a student of the game in the sense that he's like I can't see MJF agreeing to a Texas Death match and not like kind of walking the walk, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I think the biggest thing that's interesting is like not the biggest thing that's interesting. The biggest thing that's interesting is how much MJF does do. Like that is for sure it. But like you're also advertising a match on this card between who's the most dangerous man in AEW.
True.
And it's like you're kind of like how far are they willing to go, and like if they go far, like
they have to do like a demented finish, I think, more than a violent match. Does that make sense?
Like one of those like fake out, like it's clearly like a worked chain hanging, but
yes,
like that sort of thing.
More I quit than street fight is how I would sort of describe.
Yeah. I think MJF does something wild. Like he took some fucked up bumps in like the Mark Briscoe feud.
That's true, actually. He took multiple in that TAC match.
Yeah, I don't think we go as far as Mox, because Mox just like
sure. Maybe I set the bar kind of high, but
yeah.
I think your point makes it. And then final thing, Mike, from a match of the night standpoint, where do you think this one stands? Can this be a show stealer on a card with Andrade Bandito, with Mox Takeshita, with Bucks and FTR, whoever else you put?
I think so. And like I'm looking forward to Revolution just because any AEW pay-per-view, like I've literally never been let down. Like even the worst one that I can think of, which is
still fine.
All in 2020. Shout out Mimosa Mayhem or whatever it was called. Still totally watchable and like fine. One of the things about Revolution that's kind of like interesting to me this year is that they haven't, like, I feel MJF Hanger is like the only build that I've kind of cared about, if that makes sense.
Brody Swerve, no?
Brody and Swerve, yeah, like, but Brody and Swerve is more just like, oh, this is dope, as opposed to I'm like actually like emotionally invested into like, you know, that one next level, if that makes sense. Maybe it's because I'm just fired up about this goddamn stipulation. Like maybe they did get me, but for example, like the match, like Mox and Takeshita, I genuinely think the second best built match on this card is Tony Storm, Marina Shafir.
I think it's a great build match,
but like Andrade Bandito, like it's gonna blow our minds. But like,
I
No,
like their segment together where Bandito's just like looking at him like a fan and probably just like, "Oh, you want a fucking
it's
selfie?" Like,
yeah, exactly. It's like that stuff's sick, but it's like no, neither of them are going to be worse for wear on the other end of it. You know, like maybe we'll get a rematch at an ROH pay per view for the title, and Bandito will get his win back. You know, like that's kind of how I see that going. But with this one, I do think it'll be match of the night in the same way
Nice.
that Mox Hanger at All In was my match of the year last year.
Yeah.
Just like those emotional highs.
Yeah.
Like
Nothing helps the match more than stakes. It could be if you have tons of stakes, it
Exactly.
could be a way worse match and still be a better match. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not to bring him up on every show, but like CM Punk deeply understands this. Like it's
Oh,
like placing some sort of emotional core at the center of this will cover up a lot of some sort of physical
100%.
misfirings or whatever.
So it will be my match of the night, but it's going to be an amazing card. And like this being the match of the night has nothing to do with the quality of the bell to bell of the rest of it.
Yeah, very interested in the result, and you think that seeing MJF do hardcore is fun.
If MJF wins, it might be my worst match of the year. I will tell you that. Right? I'll tell you
if
that right
MJF
now.
wins, listen, you're gonna want to tune into the post show regardless. But
Yeah, I'm gonna
if MJF wins, I'm gonna be
fucking calling in, swerving into traffic.
You can call in. You can call in if you want to call into the post show.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, Mike, I'll get you
dude.
out of here, and then I'm going to give a farewell to everybody. But appreciate you. Everybody, go check out Hotel Mira. Great act. They're doing great stuff. Go check them out and follow Bike Melon on Instagram and all.
Yeah, if you want to see what I'm up to next in a live setting, come to Wrestling Brain Live 4. 13 tickets remaining.
Oh yeah, that's right. You gotta. Yeah, well, I haven't.
We'll figure that. Yeah, well,
I haven't
yeah.
revealed too much, but we have a call on Tuesday for that part of it. So
beauty.
Yeah, Mike will have a fun involvement though, no doubt about it.
Hell yeah.
All right,
brother.
Mike. Love you, brother. Have a great
you too,
night.
guys.
And
Take it easy, guys.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, you too. See ya.
Robert Hamburg.
And we made it. We're here.
You're such a machine, dude. Who better than Bobby? 2 hours, 15 minutes, everyone on time, not an issue, no wavering, no nothing. Just cold-hearted, golden, delicious business from Bobby Two Beers. You're the man, brother. Thank you.
I'll let people in on a behind-the-scenes secret. We made a Wrestling Brain font. That helped me immensely today because I got to put the name plaques up without actually having to hand draw every single one of them. I was like, oh, this is paid off. Yeah, it paid off.
Well, and I got to say, I don't think the show's ever looked better. I love the setup you did for this one. This is so cool. Very my style.
It was fun because they did it in our colors, so it made it quite easy.
Kyle Cushman saying, great job, fellas. You were great, Kyle. Thanks so much for calling in, man. And I agree. Bobby, were there any takes you wanted to fire off? You've got the mic. Were anything you did want to touch on?
There's only one thing that we didn't address. It's actually from the very first match, but I saw a couple other places in the card where it could be used too. You guys were talking about the dogs and, for lack of a better way of describing them, conglomeration trios. It's Tornado, and you were saying maybe this is where the baby faces get a win, and it'll break off into singles matches, and that's where the dogs will get their wins back. Made me think like this is a Tornado match, but it's not like no DQ or anything. Like, are we live for a count out or DQ here?
Yeah, a non-finish. Yeah, I think that's on the table. It depends where it is on the card, but yeah, I do think that's on the table.
And it did make me also think like it's kind of unclear for the Mox Takeshita match, but if it does follow Continental rules except for the time limit, which would make it not Continental rules, but if it has all the other Continental rules, this is why I hate the no time limit thing, by the way. But
it should either be or not be. Yeah,
if it's
Like
for the
Shakespeare.
Continental title, that's part of that. But anyway, if the other rules apply, we could see Takeshita lose just by any Don Callis family member just walking to the ring. Like, that would be a loss by
that is true.
disqualification.
I feel like they don't want to do that only because Takeshita Okada had like a fucky finish right at the end and the fan base was sour. So I don't know if they want to do another Takeshita match like that so quick, but I think all that stuff's live and it only adds to my excitement for the pay-per-view on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, obviously AEW never uses these things, and that's why they're more, powerful when they do than in other companies.
Yeah.
And I'm not predicting that they will, but those are two moments where I don't think I've looked at a pay-per-view on one of these preview shows and ever said like, is that a spot for a count out or a DQ? And I did it twice on this show, which is kind of rare.
It's interesting. Oh, Matty Mac asking if we see Jay White. I'm praying. I mean, if I think Hangman wins,
I don't think
Jay
so.
White's. Yeah, isn't he still pretty banged up? I'd love it though, man. What a missed presence.
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of shape he's in, but the fact that they got like Juice Robinson and Austin Gunn came back from being away for a long time on an ROH studio TV taping, and now they're in a trios match with Ace Austin on Collision. I don't think they have any plans for those guys at all. I'd be shocked.
Yeah, bums me out. And again, I'm a huge fan of all of them. The Gun,
yeah, for sure.
But you understand not giving them the sustained push at this point. It's like you're on literal years of not being able to have them all four on TV at the same time. You can't even get the tag team on TV. So yeah, I sort of understand it. Unfortunately, it's a shame because I actually thought there was a moment there. Juice Robinson was like quite organically over, and the Guns as tag champions, if you remember, had that like big 50-cent entrance, and they kind of felt like they might have something going. But
yeah, when they feuded with FTR, they kind of got made. It was good.
Chat, thank you all for being here tonight. Kev Sell saying a Jay White return will be monstrous. I agree. Brederick saying excellent house party. You ruled on it tonight, dude. Thanks for calling in. Corvex 1266 correctly pointing out MJF shows out in stipulation matches like Bryan Danielson, Mark Briscoe, for sure. And Flashback Pod saying, isn't Takeshita Moxley still Continental Rules? Yeah, Mike meant like post-match, the factions would come to the ring and beat their guys up.
Funny that both Mox and Marina have like a no one's allowed at ringside match.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting. Poor Marina.
Much to think about, yeah.
Much to think about. Many balls in the air. I hope you all enjoyed the preview show. Again, patreon.com/J0SHC Impact review tomorrow morning with one of my favorite guys to hear talk about anything, but certainly TNA. Andrew Cieslak, Torque Penderloin in the lead host seat, machine gunning TNA like I'm sure only he can. He's joined by Sam Fells, his longtime co-host, and Dan Saraceni, Culture of Losing, who I think is always great on these things. So would have had him on this show if not for him on TNA. So the wrestling brain machine rock and rolling tonight, but not possible without Bobby Two Beers. So thank you so much, Bobby. Appreciate you.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for getting the guest list together.
Had to be done. House party style. First pay-per-view back in a while. Love and energy, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Good night.